Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment. I am Alexis Soto, joined by... What is that noise?
What?
Do you hear that noise?
No.
Sound like a loud fan. Do you have a fan on?
Hello? Oh, I mean, I do.
Why do you ask?
Can
See, why do you go straight to me?
I don't know, because you're the last one that joined the call.
No.
I'm just asking.
First of all, we had to wait because of David. Second of all, I have, as you well know, the quietest place out of all three of us. So I don't want to hear shit.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment, the show that brings you everything coming out of the world of movies and more. I'm, of course, Alexis, joined this week by David, Francisco, and Peter. Today, we are going to get into all things Spider-Man, getting into the Spider-Verse, if you will. We all watched Spider-Man Brand New Day, and we also have some other MCU-related items to get into. And since the last we were here,
guys,
there
breaking
have been
news.
A few minor
Zootopia 3 is in the works.
Comic-Con, and today we do have some new announcements. I believe that will be happening in real time from D23.
Zootopia
All that
3,
and
guys.
more here on Red Spotlight number 400. What was it? 446.
yeah.
I'm not letting myself be interrupted anymore. Okay? You wanna fucking talk over it? Go ahead and talk over it. But I'm not gonna be cut off anymore. Alexis already told you. Enough. Okay?
We're not at 450 yet? That's embarrassing.
No, we're not there yet. Anyway, as far as today is concerned, there's a lot to address that we're not going to get into tonight because, quite frankly, we don't have 5 hours to get into it. But at some point in the future, you best be assured that we are going to get into the fact that over all of our heads right now is a major suit to prevent a merger that would be the destruction of all things good and holy. And yet, David Allison is working his tail off to pay off every single head of institution to settle out of court and allow the destruction of Hollywood to begin. So,
is it David Allison or is it Saudi Arabia?
Who fucking cares at that point? They're one and the same. It's all evil. So I'd love to get into tonight, but we're not going to get into that right now. But I should just start off by saying that's the most important thing, but that'll be its own dedicated show. Also, we have to just say, for the record, something huge happened, which is the film that we're talking about. Seemingly not only is already the biggest hit of the year, but one of the biggest hits of the history of the MCU, one of the biggest hits of the history of all movies. $2 billion is already assured as we are recording. I believe it is about to cross $1.9 billion, and it's going to end well north of $2 billion, which, can we just be honest with ourselves? Not one person in the world could have predicted this would be the case. This is one of those situations where it came out of nowhere, and it has been astonishing to see. And we're going to get into all that here and more today, as well as the perhaps breaking news that could be coming. I'll direct you to Peter's interruption earlier in my intro, which is D23 is happening in real time, and so there may be some announcements. And in fact, Peter, I believe, if he was being 100%, saw that they had announced the cast for the X-Men. Is that true, Peter? And if you have those names, by all means, go ahead and tell us who they are, if you have them.
I did. Hold on. X-Men, directed by Kevin Feige. Maya Boyd as Storm. I don't think I know who that is. Indy Navarrete as Rogue.
Wow.
This is gonna surprise some people. Sadie Sink as Jean Grey.
What?
It's so crazy because she played a completely different role in Spider-Man. So, they're getting kind of lazy with their casting. Kit Connor as Cyclops, Christopher Abbott as Professor X,
Who?
and Adam Driver as Mr. Sinister. It doesn't surprise me. I don't think they're. Here's the I don't. See, maybe I should have announced it because now I really want to say something.
No, but that's ultimately what we're here to do. I want to just be clear with people.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a comprehensive breakdown of
Sorry, I'm so used to getting my opinion shut down.
Movie, Marvel, and everything. I do want to just say I do not anticipate the entirety of this being an aggressively negative podcast. However, we are talking about the MCU in 2026, and you can't put it on us that they fucking suck. Peter.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to be completely negative. I think every time I've had a good feeling about an MCU movie, it's not entirely wrong. And I think we'll get into that with Spider-Man. Here's my specific worry, though, when it comes to X-Men. And it actually, funny enough, it has a lot to do with Spider-Man. I saw someone tweet this, and I think it's true. The MCU Spider-Man, to me, will never be considered one of the all-great versions of Spider-Man because it's missing too many of the elements that make Spider-Man great.
Mm-hmm.
And they just fucked around for 10 years. And they fucked up a lot of shit in his history and in his like rogues gallery. Like we didn't rewatch the whole movie, but me and Alexis we watched pieces of Far From Home, and fuck, man, it I think I hate that movie even more. I really dislike that film. The Iron Man Jr. allegations were 1,000,000% justified. Jesus. I'm a little afraid to rewatch Homecoming because I think for all my issues with Homecoming, I was like, it's solid.
Homecoming is the best one of all of them.
By default.
Well,
I don't. Yes, by
you
default.
mean talking about the home films?
Yeah, of the home of it. Yeah, Tom Holland's movies. Homecoming is the best one because I just think
I don't agree with that no more. Not by a long shot.
You misinterpreted what.
That's why I said the home films.
Well, I think David thought that you meant all Tom Holland movies. It's not what you.
Yeah, that's why I clarified home film.
Okay, no, I get you.
I will get into that. But they were just so afraid that they weren't going to be able to do what was done before better. And they were right to be afraid about that.
They really were.
Because even when they try, I mean, after Brand New Day, I went back and saw some. Well, we watched the first Sam Raimi film before, but afterwards I went back and saw some of Spider-Man 2. Goddamn, right? They're just never they're never topping that shit. They're just never topping it, and whatever. But it's like they didn't know what to do with Aunt May, so they did nothing. They didn't know what to do with his supporting cast, so they did nothing. There's so much they didn't know what to do, so they just kind of avoided it and replaced it with nothing. And it kind of took them a decade before they did anything, in my own belief. So I'm a little worried when it comes to the X-Men, because the X-Men, very political, and they're going to avoid all politics with a 10, 20 million foot pole. And yeah, they just all around seem to not be as good as some of these better other films. Here's the positive. Here's where the positive comes in. I love those original X-Men films. I don't think they're as good as the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. So the ceiling isn't as high.
Mm-hmm.
And 2.
I'm sure somewhere in the world, Alexis Moreno is screaming.
Oh,
She
yeah.
loves that first X-Men film with a
Mhm.
passion.
I love
She
that
will
first
fight
X-Men
to the
film with a
death.
passion too. It's not about them being bad. It's about Sam Raimi's films being that good. Okay.
Mhm.
They have a better starting point as far as director is concerned. I think that's a massive plus. I really, really do.
Which is who?
And the one who directed Thunderbolts.
Okay.
I forget his name. But I do think it's a better starting point.
As opposed to John Watts, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you
Very
were
much
saying
so.
that the Thunderbolts guy was better than Bryan Singer.
No. Well,
Or at least
morally,
Bryan- well, I
maybe.
mean, morally, yes, but like
But
Bryan
as a
Singer
director-
directed the hell out of those first two. X-Men
No, yeah.
films.
I'm not going to sit here and say that he's better director than Bryan Singer. But I
But
think
John Watts, obviously, that's
Yeah.
no competition.
Thunderbolts for his first MCU film, because the first one, they really try to make you just nothing when you direct those films. And the fact that I think he made a pretty good film is pretty impressive. And also, I do think they're at a point where they're like, we should start trying when it comes to these movies again. I do think that you're hitting. I think they started hitting the second they started making Spider-Man was a point where they're like, we can kind of phone this in. And I think
You
they're
mean
finally,
Homecoming?
yeah, when they
You mean when the
started.
MCU acquired the Spider-Man character is around the same time that they were just phoning it in for everything, basically? Because I think that's what you're trying to say. At that
Yeah,
time
they were
frame.
starting to
Okay.
realize like we can kind of phone this stuff in. And
They
I
were
think
right. I mean,
Mhm.
They
they
were
were
coasting
right
on-
for a very long time.
yeah.
Up until Endgame.
and and then right now they've finally gotten to a point where they're like, we should probably put a little bit more effort into these, right?
Mhm.
So I
Maybe.
actually think, plus I mean the cast is good. I do like the cast. They're all good actors and actresses.
Just to be clear, in case no one was aware of, the financial incentive is there if you want to keep this thing going and going. Because if anyone forgot last year,
There's a reason they
Brad Pitt
got them
Apple
all looking
movie,
16.
F1,
Yeah.
the Brad Pitt Apple movie F1, which itself was basically a remake of Top Gun Maverick, but the same director and writer. So there's
But
that.
cars
But-
this time.
But that film F1 made more money at the international box office than any of the 3 Marvel movies that came out last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so surprised that's why that they didn't go younger for Fantastic Four, but whatever. Man, the gains in my audio, someone really fucked it up. Look at that. Anyway, that's why overall, while I'm not sitting, I'm going to give you the same feeling I had with Thunderbolts, same feeling I had with BND, Spider-Man. I'm not sitting here telling you it's going to be a masterpiece or anything, but I think there's going to be real effort put in. And with MCU films, when there is effort put in, for me, there's a good chance I'm going to walk out going, I enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty good. So, there you go.
I agree, but then I also just want to, be the
You
devil
wanna
to
be a
your
hater?
angel here.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm going to be that
I started off
because
being a devil for a second.
I
Bite
can't
that tongue.
let myself. Are you finished, Peter?
I will
Yes?
be until you start talking again.
Okay, great. I can't let myself think for a second that what they're gonna do with X-Men is going to be anything that I should be excited about until I actually see it for myself. When it comes to the MCU, I don't give a fuck what you announce, who you announce. I'm not gonna have any anticipation or excitement until I'm there in the theater and you prove it to me that you're actually a movie first and not some fucking hobbled up, Frankenstein's conjobulated piece of shit that's just there to set up another fucking franchise. Because honestly, I'm really am through with it. Because after seeing Brand New Day, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, well, we could have been actually getting movies all along, but instead, you chose to dick around for 5 years and just do fucking commercials and put them in theaters. And I'm sorry to say, let me just be real with you. It's like, I don't know, quite frankly, if I have any faith in anybody at Marvel, much least of all Kevin Feige, that even if they do try, they're going to actually succeed. Well, we'll get to Brand New Day. But if Brand New Day has any success creatively, I do not lay that at the feet of Kevin Feige. So I have no faith in this team. And I have every faith.
Mm.
I want to make that clear.
Okay. And I think that's I mean, well, how could you? How could you have any faith with what you've seen these last few years? And when it comes to the X-Men, we already have so many worrying signs. For one, we've already seen that the last time Feige got this huge franchise with Spider-Man, he actively avoided doing the stuff that was already done in previous films. Two, he literally made Spider-Man all about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's great. They weren't even actual Spider-Man movies. And then above anything else, a consistent avoidance in any kind of substance whatsoever. It's all sugar candy. It's all superficial for the most part. And the X-Men movies, to this very day, and just the X-Men in general, are beloved characters for various reasons. And my whole thing is, Feige only ever sees comic book characters as action figures first. Because a lot of the other like story stuff that really made those characters what they were, he seems to just not ever want to really acknowledge. And then when you account for the timeline we live in, which is like, the board of the Disney company has now gone with this narrative that, we can't be too woke and we don't want to rock the boat with Israel and blah, blah, blah. And Trump's president, so we can't really say anything about that. So a lot of the political teeth that are embedded in the DNA of X-Men, I don't believe for a single second they're going to get into. And that also isn't touching the interpersonal and intimate relationships of the characters themselves, Peter, which you were speaking to, which is sex, sex, sex. That also in and of itself is a trend that is going in the wrong direction, where it is contributing to a lack of chemistry on screen, a lack of romance on screen, and only further bringing the quality of these stories back down. So it's like, I don't dispute, Peter, any of what you had to say, and I agree with you, and I think people should take it to account when you say that every time you've had the slightest bit of good feeling with the MCU, it has panned out on your end of things. I do have to be that person, though, and just remind people of the realities that exist in the industry and in this studio, and their penchant for just fucking it up. David, now you get to be the person in the middle. Go ahead.
I think I'm leaning more towards bad for this one too. Just because
Wow.
we've all been.
It's tough coming on this podcast and being the only positive one. I can tell you.
Oh,
that.
fuck you, man.
No, I mean,
Come on.
I've tried to be positive for quite a while with these
Somewhere in
movies
the
and all
world,
that.
Kyle Lira is saying fuck you because I'm just going to put it out there. Go ahead, David.
No, yeah, I mean, it's just really tough right now to be super positive about the MCU because I think we both can all agree, like, we've been disappointed with the past movies. And to me, like, the biggest thing, like, I'm with Alexis here, like, I don't care what you announce, who you cast, and all that. Like, I'm not going to be that excited, especially now with Ghost Rider coming out, directed by Sean Levy, which is like, Sean Levy he's made some good movies, but like, Marvel.
Has he?
No, I mean, if you look at his movies, he's done like the Night of Museum movies, Cheaper by the Dozen.
20 years ago, you mean?
Yeah. So like
He
he's
made
made
passable 2000s children's films. I'll give him that.
yeah, but like it just doesn't really connect to Marvel movies, to like superhero action movies and all that. Like that's just a different vibe that we want for it, and so it's just not working. And so to me, like the one thing that I'm just gonna always be disappointed about is like who's gonna be directing this movie. It's just like, oh, okay, it's the same people that's been making these, I'm sorry to say, half-assed movies for the past couple of years, and it's just like you're going the cheap route. I'm sorry, like you don't want to put any effort into making this as artistic as possible, as good as it can be, and you're really just kind of throwing things, throwing like a dart in the board, hoping something will stick or something. And so it's just really hard for me to get excited for these Marvel movies, right now specifically. The only thing I can hope for is just like I'm hoping you're seeing the negative reaction. I don't care how much money you make, but like there is negative reaction to this. There are people who are, pretty disappointed in the past couple of movies, and even the people that we consider shills in this, like I feel like they're not even taking into consideration like the things that they want to. Like it doesn't, like I don't mind with these Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies, like having all these other like superheroes in it and all that. I know that's a bit of a disappointing thing for you guys, because it's like, let Spider-Man be Spider-Man, kind of don't focus so much on the other heroes. But like I like the connecting things of it. I like him interact. That's always what we've always wanted to see in the superhero, in the Marvel movies at least. It's just these characters interacting with each other. I don't need some character arc from any of them. It's just I would like them to know that at least that they're there. And so you
just described so much of the MCU movies and the MCU characters. They're there. They're likable.
Yeah.
Completely absent of character arcs. I know you were talking about the particularly the shills you mean, David. I think we should probably just look, the world is ending. David Allison's going to destroy Hollywood anyway, so let's just be real, and let's just use Peter's coined a term that he, I should say turn a phrase that he coined a few weeks ago, which was, instead of calling them shills, they're just whores and cheerleaders. That's what Peter said, so I just feel like,
guys,
that's more accurate.
Breaking news. Frozen 3 announced.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care. No, yeah, listen, I acknowledge every negative. I'm not fighting you guys on any of the negatives. It's bleak. When I saw Ghost Rider film announced, I got so excited. Then
why
I saw...
No, stop.
No, wait.
No, why?
Hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna chastise you because I can't believe. Why would you think for a second it would be good?
Hold on.
I can't.
Hold on.
Okay.
Shh. Small voice, tiny voice. Okay.
The floor is yours, Peter. Hurry up.
Hurry up. I'm sorry. I didn't know you had somewhere to be. So, Ghost Rider is a character
I'm not the
I
one
really
that
like.
complains at the end that the podcasts are 3 hours. I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's not me that complains.
Ghost Rider is a character that I really like. So I was like, okay, cool. I thought, hey, maybe there's a possibility, like some other hold on. There you go, making faces. Like some other Marvel films of late, where it's like they get someone talented behind it. Maybe they get, and it's miraculously okay. I'm not saying it's going to be amazing. I'm not going to say it's super great or anything, but I come out thinking positively about it. All right. But then I saw they cast Ryan Gosling, which is a Reddit tier level cast. And then I saw the director. And I'm like, okay, I'm out. And that was it. It was a very expansive emotions for those 3 minutes. But yeah, guess what? I didn't get those emotions when it's come to these X-Men decisions.
Cool.
I'm not sitting here telling you it's gonna be the greatest thing ever. I'm saying the groundwork is there to where there's a chance it could be good. That's all I'm saying.
This is why Marvel fans are like MAGA, where it's like their overlords can do no wrong. Even when they've done so much wrong, they will come back and take another helping of some bullshit. Because this is where I'm thinking.
Is that me you're referring to?
There is absolutely no reason. I'm sorry. There is no justification for you, of all people, I don't mean to just single you out, but just because I do mean anybody in general. For anyone to feel any kind of like, oh my god, they're doing this movie when they've been fucking sucking at making movies for over 5 years now. Why would you be excited? Your initial emotion should be dread that this will fucking suck. And then what happened? Oh, I mean, the idea that, oh my god, this could be something Marvel could, take a really cool approach with. It died.
I didn't say those words.
Seconds later, when first Ryan Gosling, then fucking Sean Levy, the fucking Grim Reaper of all fucking announcements, just like so you completely kill it dead. It's the usual typical Marvel fucking roller coaster. It's like they can't be expected worth a damn to actually make a fucking movie or a story without having to have the hackiest directors and the hackiest writers come on in and do what they do best, which is fuck it up. So
David, you want to back me up here?
I can't stomach any kind of excitement over this shit. I'm sorry. It's like, go ahead, David.
David was about to back me up. Hold on.
I mean, I just, like I said, I can't get excited about any announcement that they make.
Damn it, David.
Yeah. I mean, with Ghost Rider 2, I'm like, okay.
Well, David, let's be real here. When you first saw, because we were actually in the same, I think, space together. We were all together that day when they announced that Ghost Rider was happening.
I wasn't invited.
No, you weren't. David, so when you got the announcement on your phone, did you feel anything when you saw Marvel Studios announce as Ghost Rider?
No. Especially how the logo looked. It's so cheap. And like I said, and then Ryan Gosling, like I like the actor, but not really my first thought. I don't know. I don't know anything about the character, so I can't really say for sure, like if he's, the best person for it or not. But either way, though, I'm just kind of like, I mean, I know how Ryan Gosling acts. Maybe it could work for the character. But that's part of the problem. It's just like you got Gosling because you need Gosling. If that makes any sense. Like if it was like, I keep forgetting his name. The guy who played the Batman in the Batman. Daniel Radcliffe.
You mean Robert Pattinson?
Daniel Radcliffe. That was so stupid.
Daniel Radcliffe.
That's Harry Potter, wasn't it? I can't believe I got both of them confused. I'm so bad with names. Anyway, Robert Pattinson. If it was like someone like him, I'm like, oh, okay, you're trying to like do something different here. Awesome. But it's just like it's Gosling. I know what to expect from whatever character he's playing. So that doesn't get me excited. Then yes, again, Sean Levy gets put in it, and I'm like, all right, you're just putting someone there who can just get it done.
Okay, we're not talking about that though. We're talking about the X-Men.
I'm just like,
about,
yes,
how does
we are.
The director for X-Men make you feel?
But, he was directing
for a
X-Men.
second that Marvel would take an actual director when you say so many times that all they ever do is hire the same fucking people. Like what? Sean Levy came off of Deadpool and Wolverine, which is why he's on this project. Mind you, if in case anybody forgot, Sean Levy was probably, I think, he was offered first to do Avengers Doomsday before he turned it down.
The X-Men film is going to be directed by Jake Schreier.
What has he made before?
He made the Thunderbolts film.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you, the Thunderbolts is fine. It's a fine
That's
film,
what I'm saying.
But it's like, I mean, and to be fair,
I'm not
what you're saying is
it's going to be amazing. I'm saying the levels are different. Fine to good.
Okay, since Peter seems to want us to be positive, here's something that I'll pull out of my ass and see if it could be a positive here. What if this might be one of the few instances where the MCU of it all doesn't become an unholy burden on this franchise? Because isn't the idea out there that after these next two Avengers films, it's going to be a complete reset?
Yeah, that's the other thing. You said, I'm tired of a film that's like hinting to another franchise. They're out of franchises. The X-Men is their last franchise. This is the one fucking franchise they've been advertising for the past
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years. The only thing I see them hinting hard at is like X-Men spin-offs, and the only one I can think of is like Wolverine. Wolverine's gonna have he's gonna get a solo film. There's a reason why he's not in this official cast. I mean, Drake Schreier, his whole thing is he worked at A24, and when he made Thunderbolts, he brought over a lot of his A24 connections, including writers, including I think editor, cinematographers, and the reason why I'm like, yes, is Thunderbolts the most amazing film in the world? No, but the reason why it impresses me is because he was relatively no name, and that was his first MCU feature. And my whole point is they can really bury you and basically being a second unit director, even below that, with a lot of these MCU films. The fact that he was able to sort of push past that and actually imbue a sense of himself and an actual film on his first go around makes me feel his second go around will be a lot easier, especially with the MCU at a point where they're like, we should try. I think we should go back to trying at least. So
okay, I can agree with you with that. As you were talking, I was remembering more stuff about Thunderbolts, and there were some, like I said, artistic things going on with that movie, unlike the other one MCU movies, unlike Spider-Man: Brand New Day, and so okay, I can agree with you that I can be a bit more positive with the X-Men movie. It can probably be better than Thunderbolts. It can probably be better than Brand New Day. So we'll see about that.
Well, here's some counterpoints. The other direction.
That's all I want.
Remind everybody, the director of Spider-Man trilogy, Sam Raimi, was brought in to do an MCU film, and that ended up being a pitiful mess.
Well,
So
that was director. He came in the middle of it, and but all the things that he for sure added in made that movie so much better for us. It's not one that I'll rewatch, but that's kind of what Peter and I were saying, is just like he's bringing more artistic liberties to, or like his artistic style into these movies. And so,
but also that was at the height of the MCU downfall, I think, behind the scenes, where they were just like, we're going to do 52 million things, and we're going to make sure that all of them are connected, but also none of them are connected, and quality control is going to hit rock fucking bottom. And then
my only worry though with the X-Men movie after this, it's just going to be what happens in Avengers Doomsday, because if it flops, they are going to course correct the fuck out of the X-Men movie, and I'm worried that they're just going to try to make all kinds of changes.
It's not going to flop.
Well, it depends on what you mean by flop, dude. You mean like financially or creatively?
I think if you look at Spider-Man's box office, there's a few superheroes that are always going to make money.
Yeah.
X-Men
I don't think, I mean, look, let's be fair. We're not quite sure just yet. The trailers do look quite poor. Well, can we just hold on Doomsday just real quick? I don't want to move off of X-Men just yet. Peter,
I will do everything to avoid Doomsday. Yeah.
my well, yeah, I know, right? Here's the thing. My gut tells me you're correct in the sense that it may just be a fine film, but I think that's my biggest fear. It's like, oh, it'll be a fine movie. Do you think the X-Men can work if they actively avoid the politics and the sex?
First, well, for that second part, there's a reason they brought him back to teenagers, I think. Avoid that conversation altogether. And the politics, see, that's the thing. There's like, when you avoid some shit with Spider-Man, it's really fucking annoying, but whatever. But with the X-Men, that is just so unbelievably central to who they are. And it's funny, you said something about like avoiding pissing off Israel. I don't think Israel would be pissed off if you include their Holocaust victim fucking character that everyone loves. I think the reason they're avoiding it is, like I said, the same thing they did with Spider-Man. The same reason Spider-Man is incapable of having a Green Goblin, because Kevin Feige was a pussy and avoided it. Same with Dr. Octopus. Same with every other fucking villain he already had. And now he can no longer use because of No Way Home really fucked up the dynamic entirely. You just can't have Harry just show up because he already knows the whole story. Basically, same with Dr. Octopus. You just can't do any of these anymore. This is what I'm saying when they like fucked up the MCU Spider-Man. I can't really ever view it as like an all-time great Spider-Man. So that's the reason why they're avoiding. I think they're just avoiding Magneto. The thing is, Magneto is so like people are gonna fucking demand Magneto. Like he is so central to the X-Men in ways that they can't.
I thought the rumor
avoid.
was that Driver was going to play Magneto, but I guess that's not the case.
No, I always knew they would go with Mr. Sinister because he's the most famous X-Men villain that they've never done before. But also, again, I also think that's a really good sign. I also think it's a sign that 100% Mr. Sinister is dead at the end of the film. Because that motherfucker ain't coming back for another one. They've been trying to get Adam Driver to be in one of these MCU films forever.
Which is funny because he's begging for another Star Wars movie and they won't actually make that movie. Hey, D23, where's that announcement right now? You know, you're giving us Coco 2 and Incredibles 3. Where is the Hunt for Ben Solo?
I didn't bring
the
it
movie
up
people
because
actually want.
It wouldn't help my point, but they did a lot of behind the scenes stuff with Sean Levy's Starfighter film. We're going to ignore that.
What?
But I do think...
Well, excuse me.
Yeah,
No,
you are excused. Go ahead. I do think his involvement is another good sign. I do. Because he doesn't like making slop. In fact, he will go out of his ways to work with amazing creatives, even if it's a dog shit film, because he wants to work with those creative people. Or there's like zero money in it. So I do think, is this just a paycheck to allow him to keep doing that? Probably. But I think he also wants to be in a good film, like an artistically made film.
Yeah.
I think it's a good sign.
Because he really could have been in any MCU movie at this point. But
yeah, I know they went after him hard for Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I was just thinking that like he could have been a pretty good Mr. Fantastic if he wanted to. Probably. But yeah,
he's got that right hit of kind of like autistic characteristics in his acting that's like pitch perfect for someone like Mr. Fantastic. But these are good signs. And I think when you people hear me say good signs, you overreact and think it means like the world is saved. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the MCU is back. What I'm saying is it could be one of the more positive ones. Where what's that gif where the kid's like
Yeah, we just want an okay movie. We wanted an okay movie with Supergirl. I mean, we didn't get that, sadly, but
I don't think I ever talked about this, but I went on a rant to Mr. Alexis, and my whole thing was like, listen, I understand making movies is very hard. It's insanely difficult. I'm not saying I would make a better film. All that being said, making movies isn't that hard. Specifically superhero films. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
The template is right there. Like the way that these people fuck up these films, it feels like they're trying. It feels like a producer's-esque scheme to make money somehow with the worst film they can make. It's not that hard. Because I'm already so in love with these characters, you get some basic things right, some basic good storytelling, some basic good filmmaking, I'm fucking all in. So
I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
The only difficult thing right now is to just try not to retread on the same stories, because we said this about Blue Beetle. Like, we enjoy Blue Beetle, but when we're seeing it, we're kind of like, this is just the same origin story as any other movie, and it's just like, that's really hard to kind of like make yourself stand out.
Yeah.
And so
I don't think you have to worry about that. I think if you look at Homecoming, Kevin Feige did everything in his power to make a film that was completely different. I think actually to its detriment that had been done before with the Spider-Man film. I think he'll try and do something very different with X-Men. Now, whether that actually is a positive remains to be seen, but
See, this is my thing. I just saw a tweet by somebody saying D23 has more hype than Comic-Con. These fucking projects, the majority of them are going to be unholy disasters. They're going to be bad movies. I don't understand every fucking time we have hype
I
for
mean,
what?
95% of them, yeah.
I'm like, insane. Okay, let's move on to more garbage.
You know who isn't excited about X-Men?
Who?
Your savior. The one light in your life. Ms. Randolph.
Oh.
Grace Randolph.
Okay, so moving on to more trash and garbage, like the likes of which Peter just mentioned, is Doomsday. So this is the thing, too. It seems likelier now, post-Spider-Man, that no matter what happens, and I think this was always going to be the case, Doomsday is going to be a hit. Because, I guess, duh. My thing, and all of our things, has been the entire time that this is giving Rise of Skywalker level, bad vibes all over the place. Disaster written all over it. Since last we were here, there was a trailer that Peter didn't know about, and then he watched it in front of us, if you recall that. And no one's talking about it anymore, and that was only, 3 weeks ago? No one's talking about it. This is supposed to be the equivalent of Avengers Infinity War. And it landed not just with a thud, but it was pretty panned, aggressively so, for how fucking ugly it looked. So it's like, it's truly, I think, going to be a question to see how bad of a flop it is from as far as the reception is concerned. What do those reviews look like? How do the fans receive it? And I feel, I have to just reiterate, there have been a lot of rumors out there saying that they're having a hard time finding this movie in the cut. That they themselves are not sure that this movie is... If they, who I have such a low opinion of to begin with, are reportedly having these feelings like, oh my God, this isn't working. What fucking piece of shit is it really going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think this is the place I think we're all going to have similar feelings of. I mean, I don't believe any of us here legitimately believes for a second this will be a good movie or a movie at all. There might be some spectacle, but even if you're going to have spectacle, we've seen supposedly a lot of it in the trailers, and it all looks ugly. Guys.
No, yeah, it's going to be a big mess. The reason why I prefer Infinity War over Endgame is because with Infinity War, everything just works so well together. Like, we already knew these characters, the way we get from A to B to C, like, it moved so quickly, so well, and you love seeing these characters interacting again. There's none of that for Avengers Doomsday. We don't know, like, 90% of these characters. They didn't set them up.
Well, that's not true,
really
David.
well.
I'm going to correct you. I do know some of them. I don't care about any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's even worse. I do know some of them. I don't care about any of them. We had one movie with the Fantastic Four. Do not care. Peter, I'm glad you like Thunderbolts. I like it too. Still don't care. How many...
it doesn't make me care about Doomsday.
Yeah, so it's like there's... In this trailer, there were so many shots of, like, a large ensemble just standing in rooms. And I was, like, literally just trying to see... I was trying to see... Is there one person I care about in this entire ensemble? I like Yelena. Okay, I like Yelena. Too bad there's like 50 fucking characters in this and I only like one of them. David, go ahead.
But yeah, and then a majority of those characters aren't set up at all. They're just gonna be throwing them in. And it's a big chunk of that movie is just going to be them setting up these characters, explaining their backstory, um, explaining what the heck the villain is going to be, which was not set up at all. And what the fuck is that quote with Kevin Feige being like, "Oh, people are over exaggerating on how we set up Thanos and all that." No, you've done enough to get us knowing like he's a big threat, that he's a villain, that he's gonna clearly use the Infinity Stones, like that is his goal. What the heck is Doomsday or Doom gonna do? What's his power set? You're gonna have to set up so many things for this first movie, and I don't think anyone's really gonna care. And then the interactions, because we know for sure that none of these actors met each other really, like on set or really interacting each other face to face. This just gonna seem so bland, and the shots themselves are gonna seem so bland. So I really do think we're gonna find this to be a boring movie, somehow. As to whether or not that's gonna reflect on the box office, I really don't know. Because like with Spider-Man, I expect, like I said to you earlier, like I expected success, but I did not expect this kind of success. So I am just gonna end up being wrong, like how much this is going to fail. So, yeah.
Again, look, stranger things have happened, and we're also living in a year where we've had a couple of franchises that have, I know, it wasn't on purpose. It was just funny how it ended up that way. But we've had
Speaking
some franchises here that
scenes of just a bunch of people standing around staring at each other.
Well, that's what I was saying. Stranger Things got so much crap for that last season, in particular because there were so many scenes of just like this huge ensemble of just standing in rooms. I think this is going to be worse. But what I was trying to say is, this year already, we've seen some franchises flop so hard in ways no one was even predicting. Like, we knew Supergirl wasn't going to do very well. No one thought it would be that bad. Moana, die on arrival. Minions. So it's like, there's a possibility this too could just not. And a Star Wars movie came out this year, and no one cared about that either. So like, it's not impossible that this has, a bit of a fall, but I doubt it's going to be to this extent. Now, Peter, I'm going to move on to you.
All those other films were so bad. So bad. A little bit of quality would have helped.
This is going to be
just a little bit.
I feel fairly confident about that. This Doomsday, this looks like a bad movie.
I agree. But the difference is those films had built in, I don't know. Here's the thing. The film looks bad. People make fake AI trailers, and I can't tell the difference anymore from the real one. They released a new trailer. I saw it earlier, I guess, for the 23 of D. And I got like 40 to 60% through it, where I'm like, okay, I guess it is real. Because for the vast majority of it, I was going back and forth. All the trailers feel the same to me. Like, there's no, I don't know. I feel like no story. It feels like a fake movie. It feels like they made, when they make fake trailers, but there's no like real movie. That's what it feels like. It feels like they shot scenes for a fake trailer to a fake movie, and nothing feels like it belongs together.
The whole first trailer was just them meeting each other. Like, it's just, hey,
that's every fucking trailer.
Hello, and all that. And before this one too, but like the fact that they didn't show anything about Doom, like what the heck is his character's gonna be like. I guess Robert Downey Jr. was talking and all that, but it's just this whole "I'm the villain" speech or something. And then I hate that Thor speech of like, "This is the biggest threat we've ever faced." I'm like,
I fuck you. Yeah, like I feel none of it. Here's the thing. You know how I might have felt a little bit some of it? Maybe we released that first what do you call it? That first Fantastic Four film in Phase 4. Maybe instead of a big Avengers film at the end, it's a Fantastic Four film. It's a new age. It's a new dawn. Maybe we have a whole ass fucking Fantastic Four trilogy where Doctor Doom is slowly introduced through all the films. Quite a build-up.
Yeah.
And then in this film, we finally have the culmination of that story. a little similar studio did that in that they used to be called Marvel Studios. They did this thing called the Infinity series. You might have never heard of it. Little indie thing. Maybe if they did that, I would give any levels of shit about what I'm seeing on screen. But they keep wanting me to get excited for Doom. I'm not. This kind of character does not work. It does work with Thanos, because Thanos' whole thing is, I am big, I am bad, everyone die. That's not Doom. He's a very nuanced character that you could do.
But is this
multiple
Dr. Doom,
spans
or
of
is
film.
this Iron Man?
I don't. That's my point. Every decision, like, you know how we talked about the whole what's his name, Ghost Rider of it all, and all those announcements, and how it's like everyone was like, "Kill me, kill me, kill me." I had a similar feeling with that when it came to The Rise of Skywalker, where it's like I wanted to jump off a fucking bridge after that first trailer reveal, because I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be bad," and I didn't realize how bad it would be. But it's like, yeah, if this is the mindset you're taking to this film, oh my god. I had almost the exact same experience, but I didn't care as much, obviously, when they announced Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. And I'm like, because that to me tells you exactly where your mindset is when making this film. And I don't care. I don't care what reason they have to say why he looks like Robert Downey Jr. I don't care. It's a terrible idea. It's the same thing they did to Spider-Man, which we will get to when we talk about Spider-Man, where they just removed his identity and imbued it with Iron Man, hoping to like get the audience more excited. I don't know. It's fucking Spider-Man. You don't need to do that. And it just seems like they're doing the exact same now with Dr. Doom. I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Am I going to watch it? Yeah. But who knows? Could it be good? I agree with you. Well, actually, I don't know if you agree with me, David, but I agree with you that Infinity War is very good. I call it the Russo's best film because I think it just contains everything they're good at as filmmakers, and it just delivers on every one of the promises of a shared universe, implied. Yeah. Right? Like, when I think about, like, what's the coolest thing you can do with this shared universe? Infinity War, like knocked them all out. More so than any other film, past or present. It's like, yeah, this is it. Yeah. If there's any good reason for this universe to exist, it was for that film.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is the other thing, too. It's like, which is another way that, Kevin Feige and the Marvel team just continue to disappoint is they keep doing variant multiverse characters, versions of Doctor Doom, Green Goblin, Doc Ock. It's just burning through a lot of and of course the X-Men. Like, this just feels so unbelievably deflating to me. There's no sense I don't think anybody else here has, that this will be even decent. Because, yeah. We're going to have to say more about that when it gets close to it, but I've grown bored of this discussion. It's going to be a bad movie. It is what it is. Before we move on to the Spider-Man, because that's the main reason why we're here.
Before we move on, I've had a longtime viewer ask if we are going to review the Coco Melon film.
Oh my
god. Do we care about Black Panther 3?
I guess I don't that much. The MCU version, not that much.
I mean, we'll see.
Because that too, I'm gonna just say again, it's like, this is why I just find it so useless and hapless for people online. Like, well, that news about Black Panther 3, that sounds pretty exciting. Who gives a flying fuck, man? They are not that great in the first place, and ultimately, but they cast this really good actor. For what? For what? What's gonna come of that? I'm oh my god, so fed up with people who are just like making hay out of like nothing, absolutely nothing. Maybe it's a good movie. I'm hoping that it is, but I mean, no one here is crazy about Black Panther. No one here is even that crazy about Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
Why even go?
No, yeah, it's just
It gets me pissed off because like Ryan Coogler could be making a real movie instead.
Yeah, he's really good at making those.
And it pisses me off how many fucking years he's wasted with like the MCU. And again, is yet another reminder of how they squander opportunity and potential at every turn. I say that as now we turn to a franchise that the MCU has basically wasted for 10 fucking years already. Peter, at long last, if you'd like to go ahead and read the Letterboxd description for Brand New Day, I will just caution people, we're not going to get immediately into that film because we got a lot of ground to recover because this is a long character, a long historied character.
Okay. Morbius, directed. Oh wait, wrong page. Hold on. Spider-Man, Brand New Day, directed by DDC. A brand new day starts now. Fighting crime full-time as Spider-Man in a world that doesn't remember him, and the pressure of seeing his old friends move on without him sparks a change in Peter Parker he may not have the power to control. But the transformation might also be the only thing that can stop a shocking new threat to the city and those he loves. A powerful villain no one can even see. Starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, John Bernthal, Trammell Tillman, and Michael Mando, Mark Ruffalo, Liza Kolanzayas, and of course Sadie Sink as, well, we don't know, do we? Okay. That's the film.
Did you say
Spider-Man
John Bernthal's name?
Yeah, I did.
it was like third or fourth.
Okay. I feel like at this point, this podcast has been overwhelmingly negative.
I wonder why. I wonder
the MCU
who.
has no one to blame but themselves. If they want to be, mid, they're going to be mid. But I think now is a wonderful opportunity to bring up the history of this character. And I think if there's a place to start is, one of the reasons for why this new movie is doing as well as it is doing all over the world, financially speaking. I think fundamentally people love this character. And this is, I think, the only franchise that hasn't really suffered from its fan base being really disappointed in any of the movies. What's really remarkable about this franchise, from the main films, from the first Raimi Spider-Man to this new one, all of them have their fans. Yes, even the Amazing Spider-Man films, which I think some of us feel are not good at all, but every iteration so far in live action has its fans. And they're not reviled or hated. Well, maybe one or two, but is it important?
I forgot one of the castings for X-Men.
Go ahead.
Samara Weaving as Emma Frost.
Okay.
I like her.
Didn't change
I like
Yeah.
her a lot.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good for her, I guess. Have fun with your movie
Whatever.
blowing up. Yeah, basically is my answer to it. So I think that's one. Like, all of us here, I think, have some negative feelings about some of these films, but in large, I feel the public doesn't really feel that because, and especially when you think about the more recent Tom Holland films, generally speaking, the audience seemingly adores those movies because how else do you explain just the amount of fanfare around it? And I think it's also a direct response to No Way Home, which people fucking adore. So there's that as well. You also have to take into account that you have the success of the Spider-Verse films themselves, which again only add to the love affair with this character. And Spider-Man is very much not seen, even though the latest iteration lives in the MCU. It's separate from the MCU because they predate the MCU, so it's seen by the public as its own like separate franchise. And it's just honestly been rolling uphill, at least as far as like general audience is concerned. And I think that's really the only thing I can come to as an explanation for why people went out in droves. I mean, we all knew $1 billion film would probably be an easy, doable thing, but a $2 billion movie, maybe even 2.34 when it's all said and done, it isn't. It's already gonna outgross No Way Home, which had like all the Spider-Man return and the Raimi villains and everything. So, that's my best, I guess, 2 cents about that. Peter and David, let's take it one at a time. When it comes to this movie's box office, how do you explain it?
I think it just could be the love of the character. I mean, this is one of the few characters where it's like completely okay to like put in so many jokes. During the action, during certain, even some emotional moments and all that. And so he's just one of the most fun characters.
Yeah, such amazing jokes like let's Scooby-Doo the shit out of this, or the amazing third act sequence of Far From Home. Yeah, good job, general audience, for liking that.
And
I understand what you're saying, David.
And
David, I'm not criticizing David. I'm admonishing the public for thinking that this is good.
Mm-hmm. No, I get you. And I mean, you mentioned Spider-Verse, but then there's also the video games, which is like one of the best of superhero video game adaptations. The Batman games are fun and all that, but like the fact that I can just spend hours and hours just swinging around in the Spider-Man games, it's like unbeatable. So there's also that too. And so yeah, this is probably one of the most loved characters. I'm sure people will say, Superman is their favorite superhero or something.
No, this settles it. This is the most popular comic book character.
Yeah,
I think that's just where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Peter.
I think a big reason why it made so much money is coming off the last film that was so huge. I do think that like some inertia. I think everyone loves Spider-Man. I don't know. I say it all the time. The people love Spider-Man. Plus, it's been a while since the last Spider-Man film. And also, I think we're going to sort of pre-MCU movie watching when it comes to superhero films. There is a handful of superheroes the public loves. And they will come out and they will see their films. We're talking Batman, we're talking Superman, we're talking Spider-Man, we're talking X-Men, quite possibly end of list. Hulk, actually, to a certain extent, Punisher. Basically, any character that had a film pre-MCU, that was people's relative favorites, right? So I think those films, or those film characters, will still make money. Everything else, kind of up in the air. Yeah, I think people still crave the comic book film, but they don't crave the comic book film from characters they don't quite know. So,
which also would explain why some DC projects were canceled lately, like the Waller TV series.
Yeah, they should be. So this, I just think it's kind of a lot of different snowball effect of several different things, and it just hit hard at this point like a fucking semi-truck. But I am still surprised just how much money it's made. It's insane levels, which is funny because it's the most kind of like regular Spider-Man. Like, it's not, the world isn't at stake here. It's to quote a character in the film a little bit more small potatoes.
Mm.
But
This beat the all-time record for opening weekend. It had a higher opening weekend than Avengers Endgame.
fucking insane.
Yeah.
That had the all-time high at
I think
357.
that's the most surprising part of it. Like I think I kept saying a lot about like how much it was going to make in the box office. I think the most surprising part was how fast it made it. You would have think it would have lasted like would have taken a month or maybe 3 weeks
The
for
first
it to even
weekend,
reach.
dude, $900 million the first weekend.
Yeah, because like
all together worldwide.
because even something like I think Barbie, Oppenheimer, and the Super Mario movie took about 3 weeks to reach $1 billion, and this one was just instant. So that's
Yeah, well, to be clear, they were. I guess some people would say cheating a little bit because first of all, when Endgame opened, the earliest screen times on opening day Thursday were at 6 p.m. Fucking like Brand New Day had showtimes as early as 12 p.m. And they were like there were like so many every hour. I mean, like 2 or 3 every hour on the hour. So they had like basically the theaters to themselves. So there are a couple of asterisks to lay at the feet, you know, as to why this was so huge. But I think ultimately, even though we're trying to come up with explanations, but I think the biggest surprise is like how nobody, I don't believe, was feeling like Endgame level hype, and yet this was basically Endgame, which is insane. You know, like okay. So that's just really, I think, ultimately, I think that remains to be the biggest surprise in all of this. So we'll see. But I will say, look, ultimately, I think that it's good news for movie theaters, you know, and it's good to see a lot of people go and watch movies in the theaters themselves. And I think it's only adding to a very successful 2026. You know, I think it kind of solidifies this is easily the best year for movies as far as the box office is concerned since before COVID happened, which I don't think anybody ever thought would actually happen. So that's something I think worth noting.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay. Then comes the Spider-Man of it all. I will just say that for me personally, I'm happy that these movies keep getting made because it gives me the excuse to just go back and watch the original Raimi trilogy, which every time I watch it as the years pass by, the higher I think of those films. I can't even say it's a regret because I was a literal child. I had freedom to do anything about it. But like, as I've mentioned before, I think I was the only person in existence, much less this podcast, that didn't experience those films as a child. Even though they were there, they were all over the place. I didn't even know they existed. I didn't watch these movies until like 2017. We have the original commentaries here on this channel in the archives. But they are so hopeful. They're so everything of what I think, you know, superhero films should be. And they're so definitive that it is, you know, in Feige's defense for a few seconds, then I will go back to hating him. It is a little, you know, impossible, just a tad, to recreate that, just the absolute level of perfection that were in those movies, because they weren't just comic book films, they were actual real movies. And I think when you watch those films, it puts a lot into perspective, but it also just makes every recent comic book film look so much worse in comparison to what it is able to accomplish there. I don't believe it could ever be done as well again. And then the realm of Spider-Man, well, the Amazing Spider-Man series, I think, royally effed it up, going for something that I don't even think fundamentally was Spider-Man. And then when you get to the home Tom Holland trilogy, that in and of itself is its own can of worms, where I always liked Tom Holland in the movies, but everything else around him is giving absolutely nothing as far as like what I truly want out of a Spider-Man movie. And I think that's ultimately where I've come down to is his movies up to this point have not been Spider-Man films. They've been MCU movies. They've been slavishly beholden to insert every instance of their being with references to other superheroes. They've basically made the main story arc of this Spider-Man character wanting to be a wannabe Avenger, a wannabe Iron Man. The villains come directly from Iron Man. And then the last movie, I guess you could say that they were course correcting some things, but then they still do the whole, well, it's a multiverse thing. And then I think the Homecoming, I think, works well when it's a high school movie, but even then it's just an MCU film. It's a decent MCU movie and it's a fun time. Far From Home is awful. No Way Home is not even a movie. It's a Saturday Night Live sketch. And I myself, I think, would be among the people who have been more surprised by the excitement, because I think very, very little to nothing of the Tom Holland films, to tell you the truth. I don't consider them to be movies. I think they're just a complete waste of time. So that's the lead up to this. And of course, I should say, even though people don't want to put them in the same arena, the Spider-Verse films are amazing, and they are like, they're the only ones I think that have recaptured the Raimi magic, to be honest.
Peter?
Okay. I, like so many red-blooded Americans, love Spider-Man. I grew up, I watched those original Sam Raimi films in the theater when they released. I was very young at the time. But I remember seeing them. And I loved them ever since. The first Homecoming movie, I remember just being like, this is fine. It's okay. It's just nowhere near the highs that those original films brought. Oh, and I never cared for the Amazing films. Luckily, we only ever got two. Did not care for Far From Home. I didn't care for it when I saw it. To be fair, we saw it at like midnight, which isn't the best. But rewatching scenes of it, I remembered I was basically slumped in my chair the whole time until like the one visually interesting scene with Mysterio. I kind of leaned in, and then once it was over, I was back to slumped for the rest of the film. On rewatching scenes, man, I think I fucking hate that film. I don't like that. And it's tough for me because No Way Home, for the first time, it seems like they're attempting to do a Spider-Man film, but they're also attempting to do the most annoying, obvious MCU commercial cash nostalgia bait grab they've ever done. And it's the ugliest film to boot, with very clearly multiple script rewrites and all that shit. But it also has a lot of the Sam Raimi film elements to it, so it's a lot better just by having Willem Dafoe show up and be Willem Dafoe for a few scenes. It makes it a lot better. But then you compare it to the other films he's in, and it's like, and then it makes it worse. So it's like this weird balancing act where, yeah, it doesn't even feel like a film. At best, I could say like a Spider-Man special or whatever. So I don't know. I'd kind of given up on all that Spider-Man stuff because my biggest complaint is they never allowed Spider-Man to just have a Spider-Man film. It always had to include a million other bullshit in it. And I mean, Brand New Day it's not like it isn't part of that trend. But looking at all the behind the scenes stuff, it did seem like the powers that be, and the powers that be, I don't mean Kevin Feige, I mean the director Daniel Destin Cretton and Tom Holland we're like, what if we made a movie this time? What if we tried to make a movie? I think it's worth it. Let's try. So I had somewhat of a better feeling about this film. So yeah, I mean that's where I entered the film.
David.
Like I said earlier, it never bothered me the whole connectivity of the other MCU movies with Spider-Man. I always hated that argument of, I'm tired of seeing Spider-Boy. I want to see Spider-Man. I was just like, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Yeah, because like I from the beginning with Homecoming, like I knew where they were going with this trilogy, where it's just like, okay, this whole trilogy is just gonna be about what it means, about what the with great power comes great responsibility line means. You got that first one going where he wants to be a part of the Avengers. He's thinking he's in the big leagues, but then he realizes, oh wait, no, big leagues or not, like I should focus on the people around me, the little people, and all that. Beat the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and all that. It's like great. As I watched Far From Home and No Way Home, I was getting a more appreciation with Homecoming. So, and because it's just the better one. um, and then with the second one, I liked the whole idea of like the responsibility of taking over for Iron Man, basically, where he thought like, how the heck am I going to fill up these big shoes? And then, what's the story? It's just like, he had his faults too. You don't have to be perfect like him. You just got to be the best superhero that you can be. Good story, just a lot of boring stuff in between. The action just wasn't as dynamic, really just wasn't really capturing my attention, and I wish I can explain why. It's really hard. And then and I don't know, just everything else about his personal stuff kind of felt like it wasn't much of a big focus as it was in Homecoming, because I think that's part of the what I liked most about Homecoming is just like his personal life was really you know like the most important part of him. Like he wanted to do the superhero stuff, but then he also wanted a normal life, and he was having trouble balancing that out. Whereas in the Far From Home, it just felt like the superhero stuff was really taking over, which is technically the bad part of it, because he really wanted to have like a normal vacation, but that just wasn't happening. But it just felt like they were really pushing the normal stuff away. And then you have No Way Home, where I liked everything with the other Spider-Man. Like once they came in, like, I really like started paying more attention to the movie and all that, and like that's all good. But what was really bothering me, and it's not so much the movie's fault after the movie came out, it was mostly the fans that were really ruining the movie for me. But what was bothering me is that all the bad things that were happening in that movie was because of Spider-Man, with Tom Holland specifically. Like he literally just let in the villains into his own home, and shit hit the fan, and that's what caused Aunt May to die. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this, because if you watch this, in the Sam Raimi ones, yes, Aunt May gets attacked, but that was completely out of his control. If you remember, Green Goblin sees his cut on his arm, and he realizes, I just gave that same exact cut to Spider-Man. Like, there's no way, right? And then he goes for it, and that's how he gets attacked. And then he goes after MJ because after he realizes he's Spider-Man, his son goes up to him and is just like, "Oh man, MJ wants to be with Peter," and he's like, "Really?" And then that's how she gets captured. Like it was all completely out of his control, and because of that, he thought, this responsibility, he should bear it alone. Not really what happened with No Way Home. It was all his fault, and then therefore he had to take the brunt of it. And it's just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that. And like I said, the fans just made it worse because they were going, "Yay, he's suffering!" And I was just like, "Why do you guys watch superheroes in the first place? That's not what I'm here for, to see them suffer." I understand that he's a character that he's always going to get beaten down, and he always gets back up. That was a big thing in the Spider-Verse movies. But I'm hoping for a happy ending in the end. So I don't know why we got to see him suffer so much through it all. I just
Because they've given us nothing, David. That's the thing. And I just want to like address that ultimately. It's like, I don't look, some people I think were absolutely that way about it. Others, I feel, were coming from the standpoint of you've wasted 3 films where you had a character that was masquerading as this character, but he actually didn't feel like him. And this was the very end of the 3rd movie, was the closest they ever came to actually making him feel like the Spider-Man that everybody knows. So it's like not so. I mean, some people were coming from at it, whereas like they're not celebrating that he's suffering, but more so just like, okay, finally, can we actually get a movie and a story where we're gonna get to the nitty gritty? We're gonna have some meat on these bones. At least that's where I was coming from. I don't believe I was like legitimately like celebrate, like, you know, yay, I'm happy that he's sad. No, I'm happy that they're at a
He
point
needs some level
where they
of
can
conflict in
finally
his life.
get to a story, you know. But
Yeah.
at the time when that movie came out, I also was like not even sure myself if that was gonna mean anything, because as usual, they tease something and then they skip over it in the opening moments of the next movie.
okay. So
David, you wanted to respond.
yeah, what Peter just said is like you wanted some conflict in the movie. It's just like there was conflict in Homecoming. Like he couldn't balance out his high school life with his superhero life.
I
And
guess
some-
interesting conflict.
but that was interesting. Like it was very personal to him
Yeah.
and all that. And then I saw one video of some people being like, "Oh, it just doesn't feel like high stakes and all that." It's just he's in high school. Like it doesn't have to be super high
No,
stakes.
fuck that. Fuck that.
No,
No,
come
now
on.
I'm getting angry. No, because I remember people being like, it's just, he's in high school. It's supposed to be low stakes and fun. So is the first Spider-Man film. That shit is raw. That shit is emotional.
He's in college.
No, not the whole movie.
No, not the whole
movie.
movie. He starts in high school. The things that he does and the changes he goes through in that film are so well done. I still oh my god, the scene after he graduates and he's just sitting in his room with tears streaming down his face, and he's talking to Aunt May saying like, I wish Ben could have been there. The conversations he has with Mary Jane when they're outside their adjoined houses about their life, about their future, that's fucking beautiful. That's fucking dramatic.
But that's
nothing
personal,
like
though.
that. Yeah, nothing like that exists in Homecoming or any other one of those films.
No,
And
I mean,
if there is anything that you want to argue that is maybe similar to it, it doesn't come anywhere close to those emotional highs of that original movie.
no. And
All the struggle is just so. I mean, again, this is the problem with Homecoming, as is the problem with Far From Home. Is like you begin the character not from the standpoint of like what, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. First of all, Uncle Ben doesn't exist. He's replaced with Iron Man, and there you kind of go wrong already from the beginning, because you spend 2 movies where you have a character who's supposed to be Spider-Man, but he's so obsessed with like being an Avenger or being Iron Man. And that's ultimately the conflict for him. The friends are there, but what conflict exists between any of them? MJ isn't a character. Ned's not even a character. And then my main issue with the Homecoming thing is like, okay, well, you have an interesting villain with the Vulture, as far as like his origins and how he ends up, you know, acquiring his wealth and why he's a criminal. But this Spider-Man character is written so, I'm not going to say he's like a narcissist, but like I don't know if you want to apply the Iron Man Jr. vibes to it, but like I think the film misses an opportunity for that character to engage with the conditions that created the Vulture in the first place, which is Kevin Feige's MO. Like he teases something like that might be like culturally significant to the times that the movie was made in, and then it absolutely does dick all with it, where it's like the Spider-Man character in this movie is not interested with like the way that the Vulture is. He's like, why are you telling me this? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. So it's like, okay, so I'm supposed to feel as bad for, you know, this Tom Holland, like, oh, he took away my suit. Is that supposed to be like on the level of any?
Avenger. You have.
I don't believe it compares.
Uncle Ben talking about how he's in his 60s and he needs to find a job and no one's hiring him. And he's thinking about how he's going to provide for his family. You have the conversation in the car where he tells him, with great power comes great responsibility. And he's just being an asshole teenager kid. And he can't fully grasp like the serious conversation he's trying to have with him, and the heartbreak on Uncle Ben when he tells him, like, listen, you're not my dad. Stop pretending to be. It's all when he's in high school. It's real, emotional, raw, well acted or well written, well directed drama in which none of it exists in Homecoming in any compelling way.
No, I mean,
everything that technically happens in Homecoming, by the way, in Brand New Day, we're seeing that Aunt May did have an actual emotional conversation with Peter. Apparently that happens in Homecoming, but the movie Homecoming didn't feel like it was necessary to have it.
It was not necessary to include it, no.
No, I mean, everything with Uncle Ben, like, yeah, they completely fucked up on it. I really thought they were going to build up to it in the trilogy. Like,
I think we all thought they were going to do something with that, you know?
Yeah, I thought they were going to have like some flashback of like
that would take time. That would take time away from talking about Iron Man, though.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I get that. Like everything, yeah, I agree with you with everything with Uncle Ben. Like they completely fucked up on it and all that. It's just, I don't know. I just don't like that comment of like the part of you know, just not being that connected with this character because it's not as dramatic, I guess you can say, as the Raimi ones and all that. I don't know. It feels like the conversation we're having is not that different. If I were to say like, they just didn't feel as dark and gritty as like some of the other movie.
It's the people in his life. He has no tension with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of a push and pull between him and Mary Jane. There's a real tension between him and his best friend Harry because they love each other.
Harry and Mary
and they're
Jane
like brothers.
In the movies are actual characters.
Mm-hmm.
They have
they're
their
actual
own lives.
characters.
They have their own arcs.
Harry,
Ned and MJ in these movies do nothing. They just they stand.
I was
there.
getting to that.
No, yeah, I said that too. Like I thought his personal stuff was getting like sidelined in Far From Home and then No Way Home and all that.
But that's the point where you actually hone in on it.
Yeah, I get you.
Because Harry, he has this difficult relationship with his father, Norman, where he never feels like he gets the love and respect from him. But then his best friend, Peter, who's like a brother to him, is the sort of brilliant son that his father, in his eyes, would want. And that creates some level of tension in them, even though there's this push and pull, even between him and Aunt May. Him and everyone in his life, they feel like real fucking people. No one in the Home trilogy, even if it's not the fact that it's much lighter, it's that none of them feel like people. Ned isn't a person. MJ isn't a person. Aunt May isn't a person. She's there to look hot and be supportive. Ned is there to be funny and be supportive. MJ is just there in the corner in this film. There's nothing. So it's like you remove all the interesting stuff from the previous films, and what do you replace it with? Nothing.
Yeah.
For a start. For a start. That's not even getting into the filmmaking qualities, which also
I'm not even talking about it.
No, I already said the action just did not catch my attention.
That goes without fucking question, I think.
Mm-hmm. And it's just I rewatched Far From Home and No Way Home with my dad a couple of years ago. That was like before I moved. And
which time?
Before moving to
you have moved a few times, David.
Yeah, still in Tucson, I guess.
Tucson, Arizona.
And rewatching them, I was just like struggling, honestly, to even like get some level of entertainment from them. So there's that. But I think you should rewatch Homecoming. I think you have more appreciation for it. I think it's just a better one of the Tom Holland movies.
Look, I rewatched Homecoming, I think in the last week, and I will tell you that there is more entertainment and joy, technically speaking, to be had in when you compare it to the two that followed it. But I do think, for me personally, it fundamentally does not work as a Spider-Man film. The things that are at stake in that film are, quite frankly, too childish for me to give a fuck about. Especially because when I'm coming dude, I'm sorry, but like, yeah, he's a kid also in the original films, and like his fucking uncle died, and that was an emotional thing when he was in fucking high school. It's not gonna compare to Iron Man thinks very little of me. I do not care. I could not care.
Maybe if he was struggling financially, or
Which that also was taken away completely. That was another aspect. It's
academically,
like once again,
or maybe he's getting picked on at school, or anything. Maybe his home life is so shit and his life at school is so shit that he just wants to escape into Spider-Man, you know? But no, all of that is perfectly fine. Like, there's no tension.
I mean, it's to me so. I think ultimately, like, Brand New Day as a movie and what it features, kind of getting to that movie now, but
at some point we should.
I know at some point we should, but like, I just want to say, like, to me, that's what I imagined what a Spider-Man movie in the MCU would feel like, in the sense that he wouldn't have his own movie taken away from him, or having to share, billing with other Avengers that would come in here and like hijack the entire thing. And it's still also, feeling like a lived-in world where it didn't feel the need to tell us 1,000 times, by the way, we're in the MCU. If you forgot, 5 minutes later, we're all in the MCU. Do you remember the Avengers? Do you remember Winter Soldier? Do you remember Doctor Strange? No Way Home. I'm sorry. This new one, Brand New Day. By the way, all these titles suck. This new movie doesn't really feel the need to just like mention or like stop to like remind us of what happened. Like, characters exist and they're all here to serve something as far as the story is concerned. And that ultimately is what I feel is, I think, what most people were kind of expecting out of this character in this universe. But they took 3 films to make it really less about him and more about the MCU at large. Like I told you, David, to me, all the things that they were accusing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. about, like, oh my God, these Natasha Romanoff, Captain America, Iron Man in the first season, all the things. And Peter, if you dare say something about this.
I didn't say anything.
Because it's the truth, because this is the reality. People were laughing and dismissing that show in large part because John Campea went on YouTube and like did this whole little rant, which got parroted all over the place, which is like, they can't go 5 minutes without, acknowledging the Avengers. Well, guess fucking what? Spider-Man had 3 films where they could not go 5 minutes without acknowledging the Avengers, and people they adore those movies to no end.
Because one of them has Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, look, the connections and stuff, I don't mind, David, necessarily that if it's connected to the MCU. I think the Brand New Day movie is an example of like, okay, there shouldn't be, one shouldn't come at the expense of the other. The connections can absolutely be had, but you need to have a fulfilling story. You need to have an actual character arc. You need to have a central character that reminds you of why you fell in love with that character in the first place. And also, just to mention some of the things that you were saying, David, about, Tom Holland's characterization, I agree with you about, especially that last one, No Way Home. He was stupid, and he caused all the things himself that he, that went wrong in that movie. Like, even the messing up of the spell.
Yeah.
So the more that I think about the Tom Holland character in those movies, the more annoyed and put off I am of that character. So, getting to this.
Here's the thing. Real quick. David, yes. It is a solid film. I'm not saying that Homecoming's terrible. I'm not saying that.
No,
I agree with you. It's solid. And at the very least, the best of those home films. My only thing is, I don't think people are incorrect in those specific criticisms. I think it's very... And even if you're going for a more lighthearted Spider-Man, which is fine, there's Spider-Man cartoons for like 2-year-old babies, you can be as lighthearted as you want, but I agree, it's solid. I'm not.
Okay. Should we get to the movie?
I guess we should, huh? Who wants to go first?
You, Peter.
Yeah, you, Alexis.
Okay.
I'll go first because you're
I
already
knew
gonna
it
throw a
fell
little
back to
fucking
me.
hissy
I'm
fit.
just gonna go
No,
ahead
I'm gonna
and
go
go.
first.
I'll
No,
just
I'm gonna
go
go
ahead and
first.
do
No,
it.
no, now I am for sure gonna go. No,
No.
I'm going.
I didn't want to.
Spider-Man Brand New
it.
Day. Here's how I feel about the film. Okay, I liked it. I think it is.
Can I stop you real quick?
the-
I'm seeing footage
Jesus
of that.
Christ.
Hey, you cut me off many times. I'm seeing footage of that Doomsday trailer that they just put up.
It looks exact. It's AI.
Ugly. Oh my god.
I think I want to term it Russo gray.
Yeah.
I
But
think
this
I think
is worse.
that's.
So this is even worse.
But
than
it
that.
is Russo gray. There's a hint of yellow, but it's Russo gray. It's.
I saw one
whatever.
tweet that said indistinguishable from AI.
It
The
kind-
scene
like,
where Doom and those giant soldiers come out of the ground, I think.
The Sentinels.
That's the
Yeah,
trailer they showed
whatever that
at
is.
Comic-Con.
This is it. Yeah, but the thing is, you can't even tell they're Sentinels because it's all fucking gray.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
Wait.
Spider-Man, we gotta talk about this fucking movie.
Wait, hold on,
Okay,
one side
Spider-Man.
tangent.
Oh my
I'm so sorry. No, it's just you kept bringing up the gray, but like just a funny thing happened. Adam and I were like watching Disney Plus, and that new Camp Rock 3 that came out, we played it.
Yeah.
Couldn't see a goddamn thing, and they're supposed to be in a camp in the forest, and actual sunlight.
Even Camp Rock?
In daylight?
Yeah, in daylight, couldn't see a thing, and it was
That's
so
insane.
great. I was completely surprised by it. I literally had to like turn up the brightness on my TV in order to see it. Insane. Okay,
Those Disney Channel original movies used to actually have color. That's crazy.
that's insane. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my god, that is AI. That is. I can
It
literally.
looks exactly.
This is
like
an
AI.
actual screenshot from the trailer that just got dropped. This is the image that I saw someone retweet say it's indistinguishable from AI.
Yeah,
This is a new low.
that is insane. Oh my god.
Well, again, not to push the conversation further off the rails, but there was that thing that they showed. They absolutely have been using AI behind the scenes on these films. They showed them use it on Supergirl, and AI art on Green Lantern. I think they're using it, as of right now, a hell of a lot more than they let on. Remember, it's not that long ago, they like fired their entire art team, basically. The guy who who did like all the concept art, great fucking art, by the way, for like the entire MCU for over the past 10 years, who they have his art plastered all over their fucking offices. They fired him.
Yeah.
I think a massive amount of AI is genuinely being used on these films behind the scenes. I think they're more smart than DC, in which they won't show it, but I do think it's happening, especially in the concept art stage.
Yeah, that
which is leaking into the final product.
That image didn't look AI. It just looked lame because
Awful.
it's just lame because it's Thor attacking him, pretty similar to how he attacked Thanos.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that first image was so AI. At the very least, concept like just very basic concept.
I can
art,
see the
but-
concept art they pull from it. So yeah. Spider-Man.
Yep.
God damn it. I liked it. I've only seen it once. This is one of those films where I'm like, listen, guys, I haven't really cared for much of these recent MCU films, these recent Spider-Man films, but Daniel Destin Cretton, I think he's a step up from John Watts.
John Watts.
I think Tom Holland, after making the Odyssey, it seems like he wants to make a real movie for a change. He genuinely, he's like, yeah, man, we should do this like practical if we can. We should like have a finished script before we start shooting the scene. You know, he did a lot of that where I'm like, yeah, man, that's called making a movie.
Yeah.
So I definitely, I felt better about this film going in. And again, this is one of the reasons why I feel similarly to maybe we'll get that with X-Men, because I felt this was pretty darn good. I think it's the best Spider-Man live action film since the Raimi films. I think it's better than every other Holland film. I think visually, again, it's not mind-blowing, but it looks like a film. Stop doing this to me. I'm trying to fucking talk. You're making me angry. I can't even tell you who's behind him. Does he have balls? What is that? Maybe it's just the smudges on your screen. Where was I? Yeah. Visually, it kind of looks like a fucking movie. All the action scenes are actually pretty good. A lot of them I can tell where it's like, yeah, they put a stuntman and he jumped around and they put him on wires and it looks fucking cool. And it's like every single action scene in all the other home movies is a guy in a CG suit where you can tell John Watts had no authority over what the action looks like. That very much was done by like the CGI artist that went off and they just made whatever. All of it's so floaty. Everything just floats and just feels meaningless and just nothing to it. The suit in this film is great. It's actually real. Why did it take this long for them to make a real fucking Spider-Man suit? And
Why
it
did
looks
it take
good.
this long? At an endless list.
Yeah, it's an endless fucking list. It looks good. He wears it for the vast majority of the film. The fact that Tom Holland as Spider-Man, there's an entire scene while he shows up, has a conversation with someone, and fucking leaves, and he never even wants to hints taking off the mask. To me, that feels more comic book than any number of like random fucking cameos you can throw into a film. I was like, oh man, they're adding all these other fucking characters like the Punisher and the Hulk and another character that they didn't even say but is in the film, Yelena. And I'm like, oh god, why can't he just have a Spider-Man film? Why are they doing this? Here's the thing. I think they were implemented really well. I think thematically there is a reason for them to be there. Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. We don't even have to jump around that anymore. They just announced that shit to the world. That was the number one thing where I'm like, fuck, like I don't.
But I thought she wasn't Jean Grey in this movie.
She's they gave her a middle name. I forgot what it was. Yeah, fuck it. She's Jean Grey. I'm not gonna say that I liked her inclusion. I still would have preferred that it was like an actual Spider-Man villain and all that. But the way it was implemented was well done. They did implement it well enough with thematic purpose and all that jazz. I think the city looks great. It looks alive. There's people walking everywhere. The swinging actually looks good. When they revealed the footage of his first big swing in this movie, I was like, oh my god, I'm not crazy, because I just felt like the swinging for the past 3 films I just felt nothing. When before it used to be the coolest thing in the world to me with all these other films. And here again, is it to the level that it once was? No, but it's actually really well done. Writing wise, it's a solid script. Like I said, all the inclusions of these other side characters feel like they have thematic purpose. There's an actual real character arc. The character, yes, does go through things. There is drama in his life. Now, can it be better? I definitely have some criticisms there. But there's a real attempt and a real just execution that's well done at the end of the day. I felt for the first time in a long time like I had watched a Spider-Man film. which I don't know. It's a big improvement in my eyes. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I thought it was very solid. Now, I've only seen it once. That could change. But I mean, that's where I'm at with it right now.
Cool.
I would just say, I know that this movie is kind of becoming an afterthought at this point, but I'm seeing some more reactions to that image, and everyone is just saying it's AI and AI and AI. Someone even said, "Brought to you by Sora." It's just really, really bad. This whole situation. You see, it validates what we said earlier about the state of the MCU and the state of this movie not going to be very good. I'm telling you, it's like,
it's just, it makes, to me, it feels almost like a Trojan horse to allow more AI in films, because people are going to be like, what's the difference, right? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not. What did you think of Spider-Man?
So my feelings for it are kind of similar to Inside Out 2. So,
oh god,
Inside Out 2, when I was watching it, I was like, I can't say much complaints about the story and how you utilize these characters. The thing is, these characters shouldn't have been here. Shouldn't have been here in the first place. Like with anxiety and what was it? I can't remember the other two characters, but basically, I just didn't like where they was taking the franchise. For Inside Out 2, I mean, and it's the same thing for here, where I'm like, I can see how you utilize these characters, and you know how they're kind of important to the story. I just ultimately don't like where you went with this franchise. From the beginning of this, I've said, do not put in MJ, just put in Black Cat. He's like, you know, kind of falling for her.
I agree, though.
Yeah,
I also agree. Yeah,
like he could be falling for her because, but it's really more so like a rebound type of thing going on. And then as the relationship keeps going, like it's very toxic. And then, you know, once they sort of help each other out, him trying to make her good or her trying to help him like get over MJ, then in the next trilogy, if you know, if they ever make it to there, you bring her back. Like he wants to have the normalcy now and whatever, you know what I mean. And so, and I don't know, I just don't really agree much with how what you said about the whole characters being there thematically. Yes, there's something with Punisher and the Hulk. Yelena, though, I don't think they utilized her as well as they could have. There was a moment in the movie where I was just like, "Oh, okay, she's gonna come in," and then it doesn't happen. And,
well, I think I would have not liked it if she came into that way.
But it was a perfect end, though. That's the thing, but they didn't do it. And then I think my main complaint with Punisher and the Hulk, though, is just that the interactions were very forced. And honestly, that's all the interactions, because he's literally like, I gotta investigate this, and then he goes to just one person, and then he goes to another, and then he goes to another, and it's just like, I don't feel like this is really organic. You're kind of just forcing it. And
organic,
yeah, and so
organic webbing.
Oh,
anyway,
nice. I get you. And then when it comes to bringing back MJ and Ned, I just, as much as we've been complaining about Far From Home and all that, I feel like you just undercut that movie. Like you just completely throw it away. And so
good.
No,
that's
but
one of my favorite aspects.
No, but you could have done that too without putting in there, though. That's the thing. What I mean is, like, the Far From Home movie was trying to do it so that they can get rid of them, and then he can be the Spider-Man that you guys have been saying this whole time. But they bring him back in, and it's just like, oh, okay, so you just cut that. I can watch Homecoming and then watch this, and then nothing changes, really. I don't know. I mean, that's not really that true, because it's important, the whole memory loss thing and all that. But, like, not good from what you guys are saying. I meant it like you could have just thrown away by just not having them there in the first place. And then that's a better way for me to go, I can just watch Homecoming and then watch this. And so Um,
That's why I like their inclusion.
okay. So yeah, there's just some things character wise that I just didn't like, but I will say this is probably the better action from the other movies. Like it's just more dynamic. It actually captures my attention. They were doing something different with it. Like I don't know, maybe it was because it's all some of them is practical that it really helps because yeah, you just notice the CGI in the other movies and it just completely takes me out. So um I was really struggling with like as I was watching it, I was like, this might be like the second best of the Tom Holland movies. I don't know. But then the more I think about it, I'm just kind of like, I don't really care for it at the end of the day. So I was, I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch it and I'll probably like it a bit more. But because I've also seen it just once.
You're not required to like it, David. I mean, you don't have to beat yourself into submission to get to
who do you think we
of
are?
liking it.
No. I'm just genuinely confused about like how I feel about this movie because, like I said, it's like I don't like where you're taking it in a franchise way. I understand what you were doing from a character standpoint because, like, Jean Grey. You know, I think Peter, you said like you didn't like her inclusion in it, and all that. I didn't mind her being in this movie. Like I think it's totally fine. It's just something I wish that like the DC movies had done, you know. If like, you know, you had Shazam,
now I don't even know what your issues are.
no, like cuz like specifically before James Gunn. Like the DCEU movies were going to shit and I was just like, just pick one movie that you like were doing good with and just run with it. Fuck it, you know. Use that, take a break from the DC, you know, expanded universe and all that. Like I kind of wish like I say, just like with Shazam, you know, you had a pretty good first movie, cool, keep it up and just try to extend it with that. You know, you got these parents who are taking in foster kids. What if one day they take it in and it's Raven? You know, it's just like keep adding them in. Let's do that. Keep it, you know. And so that's what I was that's why I don't mind it with Jean Grey because it's just like, okay, cool. Well, she's in, fine, whatever, we can move on. And then maybe she'll come back in the other movies, who knows? And that's it. And so that's kind of what I meant. And so, but I still have some problems with it, and that's probably because there was a completely different story written when it was first made, and they got. I think they were just got lazy and didn't want to switch it. I'll get into that in spoilers, but yeah. Alexis?
Here's the tiebreaker.
Jesus Christ. This is hilarious. I guess this is what it felt like walking out of Disclosure Day for some people. Because, like, David, I love you, but like, every word you said, I don't think I agree with a single thing you said. I don't think I agree with a single thing you said, to tell you the truth. And let me just be clear about that. Sometimes
there's no bigger hater than Alexis. So.
You know, you and I don't agree all the time. Like, you know, you have some movie takes that I quite frankly can't, you know, I mean, I get it. People like them, but like, you know, you like the Joker. I despise it. You like Dunkirk. I would kill it with my bare hands if I had the chance.
Damn, we're going over his whole
No, but he also
film
has
opinion.
things. There are plenty of times where I adore something and I praise the hell of it, and he doesn't feel the same way, and it's totally fine. Like, that's how it is. But I think so little of the previous three films, even Homecoming, where this movie doing things differently, even if it is the bare minimum, did it enough for me because of how starved I was by just the basics of what I believe you want this character to be and what you want this franchise to be. I'll just start by just saying the thing that I care the least about is what this means for the MCU or what this means for Jean Grey. I don't give a fuck. So I, first of all, don't have any kind of like, I don't have any baggage when it comes to the X-Men and what this means for the X-Men going forward. Because I don't care. I already said from the beginning of the show that I don't care about the X-Men. I know it's going to be whatever. It's not going to be all that great. So I know the end goal is just not, it's not to me worth getting upset over because I know where that's going to go. So as far as like an introduction for an X-Men character like Jean Grey or the mutants, what direction that sets up, I don't care at all. What I care mostly about this one movie is what is she here contributing to? Why is she here? What does it mean for the Peter Parker of it all, right? That's what I'm most concerned about. And I'll just begin with addressing a couple of the things that you were saying. I mean, it's funny. I mean, I felt a bit refreshed in the sense that we had this Spider-Man just jump from, scene to scene to scene from like different groups of people, because it actually felt like a comic book to me in the sense that, oh, finally, we're seeing what it looks like for Spider-Man to exist within the confines of the MCU. Finally, this New York City feels alive, that is inhabited with people. Yes, some of them are heroes, but like in the time that we've last seen him, he's finally like cemented himself not as a wannabe Avenger or somebody that's part of a team, but as like New York City's superhero. He has his own network of people that he actually has real connections with. And look, this may say more about how little I vibe with the other three films than it does this one movie, but not for nothing. I believe Daniel Cretton, and Tom Holland and Justin Koretsky, who they got on through Zendaya to rewrite some of these sequences and maybe even the whole movie. I don't know. There was genuine, I feel, reality and groundedness in this film, in the sense that, yes, I know it has Jean Grey. Yes, I know it has the Hulk. But when you come down to it, this Spider-Man finally felt like Spider-Man. I appreciated the fact that he had an actual costume and I wasn't seeing some CGI recreation of it. I appreciated
He's not calling everyone Mister.
That too. I appreciated how he wasn't, taking his mask off any chance he could get. I appreciated the fact that this was a film. Can we just acknowledge that this is actually trying something? It was trying and somehow disciplined, in the sense that we're going to have a bare to bones, back to basics, back to formula Spider-Man story in which, yes, he is going to have some hard times here, but I don't believe they've ever come closer than this movie in making him feel like an actually fully fledged character. I know it sucks to say, but him being miserable is the closest that he came to feeling like, one, a character, and two, a real person, with some struggles that finally, at long last, feel somewhat relatable. And I do say somewhat because still I maintain I don't care at all about MJ or Ned, even in this film. Now, I will say they do come across a little bit more likable, but fundamentally speaking, they still very much are nothing characters. So that, I think, continues to be an issue in these movies. And I mean, you could say that, that should be a legitimately big flaw of the film, that I still feel nothing for their relationship. I guess they got a little somewhere, but, it's interesting for me to hear you say that a lot of the stuff that, the interactions felt forced. I mean, I guess, look, that happens sometimes where, like, people have different takeaways, but I mean, I really enjoyed the dynamic with Spider-Man and the Punisher in particular. They really acted like this old married couple, and forgive me, to me it felt like it was genuine, and I actually believe that in and of itself was the true romantic relationship of this movie and of this franchise. I will tell you, I believe that the chemistry between Bernthal and Holland was more than Holland ever had with any of the love, what I guess was with his signature love interest of this franchise, if you will. But I will say this, and I think this is where I can connect a little bit to the Thunderbolts movie, where I sense a genuine attempt to string together themes, to string together character arcs. And in this is where I see it anyway. Ordinarily on paper, and I've said this myself, the Punisher, Jean Grey, the Hulk, even Yelena, being in this movie would just fundamentally be very off-putting. But I can only speak for the experience that I had while watching it. And I grant you, it's seemingly I think we watched different movies. But having even just reflecting on it moments after watching the film, I came away with the feeling that they were able to have it both ways, which is to include MCU characters, but for the first time, it actually made them feel like they were at home, because all of the characters that were involved, Punisher, Hulk, Jean Grey, even Black Widow, have gone through or are going through a similar thematic resonance to what Peter Parker is going through in this movie, which is like the monster within. Also being a deeply lonely character, and what that would mean if you are alone forever and ever and ever. And I do think that plays out with all of the MCU characters in a way that, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was handled amazingly or that it was beautiful or it was flawless. But to me, I work with very little in the sense that, at least to me, it feels like someone had the thought, what if, for a change, when we bring in MCU characters, what if we try to actually tie them in with some thematic resonance? And I understand that perhaps with you, David, it didn't come across that way at all. I understand that. But I don't care. I aggressively don't care about any of the previous 3 films. They weren't characters. They had nothing. And whatever they were working with was fundamentally off-putting. The villains themselves were awful. The action was even worse. This felt tactile. There was, and I think we do see from the behind the scenes, there were attempts that they went outside and they shot some of this stuff, and it made it all the difference. The fact that we see him swing through New York City and be a part of New York City, the fact that we see people in New York City, or that we see him saving people in New York City, that very little made all the difference. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it is an incredible movie, or the fact that people are like saying, "Oh my God, it's like the best one ever made," because it sure as hell was not. And I will say this, and you and I may disagree with just this. Like I think not as highly of Homecoming as you do. I suspect you don't think as highly of Spider-Man 3 as I do. And which is to say that I do believe that even in the moments where this is actually, I think, working quite well, I don't think it ever comes close to even Spider-Man 3, at least from my standards. And I think for you, you're saying that even some of the best parts don't come close for you as far as Homecoming is concerned, how highly you think of that one. I just think that the struggles that Peter Parker is going through in this film fit a lot more in line with what I feel this character is, less so with Homecoming. I'll even tell you this. I even enjoy the Michael Giacchino score, for instance. Now, it was very restrained, but I don't really care for the original theme in the first place, so I think the more restrained, the better as far as I'm concerned. But you can't beat a real costume. And Peter Parker and Spider-Man looks great in this movie. And by the way, not for nothing, this is an MCU movie, and it doesn't look like complete shit. I'm sorry. If Peter said it himself, it's called grading it on a curve. I acknowledge I am grading this very much on a curve. Ordinarily, this is not a movie at the end of the day that I think should be, having people like say, "Oh wow, what a truly great thing," because I don't think it is. But I just think it's anywhere between halfway decent to pretty good, and that's a territory I don't think I feel it's come anywhere close to.
Okay.
Peter, I think we're gonna go back to you, and you want to either
for spoilers.
Yeah. Well, let me get into some of the stuff that David was saying, and this isn't attacking David. It's just kind of addressing what he felt wasn't great. Because I think I understand where he would come from.
Yeah.
Because I said, I wasn't a fan of all the inclusions of these other characters. Here's why I think it mostly worked. First of all, John Bernthal is great as the Punisher in the film. And the chemistry he has with Tom Holland as, you know, Peter Parker Spider-Man is fantastic in the film. They work so well off one another. It reminded me of.
I'm surprised it was that good. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. I mean, maybe David, you thought it was forced, but it actually worked very well from the beginning.
They had good chemistry. I'll say that. Yes, I agree. But when I say that it was forced, this one specific scene that stands out, it was when, and again, spoilers for the movie now.
Mm-hmm.
It was when he takes MJ to his base and all that, and they're walking around his boat, I guess.
Excuse me, his house.
His house.
Let's be respectful. His house.
And then he just happens to have the cabinet open, full of his family and pictures, and it's MJ going, "Oh, is this your family?" And I'm just like, "You're forcing the background story like to let us know what happened to him when it could have just tried to come out as naturally as possible, where he could have just, you know, really like get on his face and be like, stop being so fucking lonely, don't be like me,' or something like that." And it just didn't, you know, hit as hard and all that. That's what I don't like.
I disagree massively. I don't think it's that weird that it's open. He's there alone all the time. I don't think he would ever expect any other person except himself to be there.
But
he didn't even expect Spider-Man to show up.
But there was a loud bang.
I'm sure
He could have seen.
Yeah, and he immediately walked outside to see who the fuck it was. He wasn't thinking, "Oh, I have company. Let me close the cupboard of the fucking ofrenda to my dead family." You know, if I hear a banging outside, my immediate thought isn't, I don't know, fucking hide the fine china. It's let me go outside and see what's going on. I think it's like the most natural thing in the world. I don't think, and they didn't spend time on it. He's just like, leave it the fuck alone. And then when he has the next scene talking to Peter Parker, where he's like, "Hey man, I'm just like you, you know, I'm married to the job." And he's like, you think this is a lifestyle choice? You think I like this? You think I want this? You think if I still had my family, this is who I would be and where I would be at in my life? Like, I don't think it's that crazy. I just think it's basic, but well done, you know, little story moments.
I don't know. I just didn't like that interaction much. There was a lot of their dialogue that I don't know, just felt like there was some sort of restraint in both their parts. And mainly just Punisher and all that. Like,
he's not as dark. He's a little bit more played up for laughs in this film. I can acknowledge that completely. I just think it's done in a way where it works.
No, I don't mind the laughs and all that. I just like, there was something about when, like, in his dialogue and in his acting, like they were really it felt like they were trying to get the Punisher from the Daredevil Netflix show, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on here? It's okay to kind of keep him more loose in this, because this is a completely different character that he's interacting with in a different situation. And
I think he did act differently. I'm gonna be real. At this point, I don't even know what the fuck you're saying.
I don't. Have any of us actually seen how they've handled the Punisher in the new stuff?
I've seen some clips.
I saw the
but
clip.
I mean, I saw the original Netflix series. I saw Daredevil original series.
That's what I think of as him.
Yeah, and I'm okay continuing that. You know, I mean, thematically and everything, I think with Punisher worked, especially story-wise and thematically, which is the thing I was most worried about. I think that worked. Then you have Hulk, or Bruce Banner. Just in general, I really like Bruce Banner and Hulk in this one. This is the first time to me he's felt like that character probably since the first Avengers. Especially all the Hulk stuff.
Another problem of the MCU,
it's
in case anyone's keeping a tally.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many times where I was telling Peter, you know, there's a movie there somewhere with that character, especially with the events that even happened in this. Like, how many times has he fucking lost control? Like, this guy they leave him in such a low where I'm like, I would love to see a Bruce Banner story for a change. And it's funny how they made a Hulk movie last year without him in it. And they just swapped him out for Captain America. And like the weirdest turn of events.
I forgot to give him any fucking story. But again, thematically, I get why they have this character. I think that why there's a reason. He's also a very lonely character who has struggled to sort of control what he considers the more baser, animalistic, worse aspects of himself in a sort of physical manifestation, which is exactly what he's going through right now. So for the whole science aspect, for the MacGuffin that he needs to create at this point in the story to help him control it better, it's a good conversation. But it's also a conversation where he starts to, he brings up the proposition of like, well, you know, how do you decide what parts of yourself are good or bad? What parts you choose to control? And it's I think that's a really great point that he brings up to him that he starts to think about. So that, you know, just the Bruce Banner of it all, I think that idea works really well. And then the Hulk of it, I think that's a great scene with the Hulk. It's, again, I feel like I've seen the Hulk for the first time after over a fucking decade. Last time I saw him was in the Avengers. I think it was a great, well done action scene. So overall, again, thematically, I think it works. Your issues, Dave.
My issues. Again, actually, also all the interactions that he has with these characters, like I don't mind it. I just have some minor problems with Hulk. I understand it thematically too. You know, he's also got a monster in him. Like there's parallels between the two and all that. I get that. My problem though is I thought he had control of it. I was very confused. I'm still very confused by all of it.
I don't care about the MCU. Maybe this is your problem. You're thinking about the whole fucking universe. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I don't care where he was in fucking She-Hulk or whatever the last time we saw him, Smart Hulk, this Hulk, that Hulk. I care about this film.
Okay. I get that too, because I get that with Jean Grey. I like when it's just this movie.
David, what? I'm a little confused. You seem to be saying that there's an issue that you're not happy with the direction they're taking the Spider-Man character in the future?
Spider-Man character?
Or Jean Grey. When you say you're not happy with the direction they're taking this character, and
Spider-Man.
Who are you referring to?
Yeah, Spider-Man specifically.
Okay,
really.
Well, what about him in this movie felt to you was like not? It's just not doing it for you.
It's funnily enough, the whole idea of him, I guess maybe not Spider-Man himself. It really is just the MJ and Ned thing. And then when it comes to the other characters too, I'm just mostly worried about how they're going to be interacting with. Because like, so when it came to him meeting with Black Widow, he was just like, oh, I'm trying to figure out. Oh, okay. So you said it felt like more comic book, like how he kept just going to one character after another. To me, it feels more comic book if it was going by super quickly. Like he wanted information from Black Widow being like, there's some mind control stuff going on. And it's fine for him to go to her to be like, is this like the thing that you dealt with and all that to get that information? But that conversation kind of went too long for me. I feel like it didn't need to be like that long. It could have just been like he could have gone to the Avengers Tower, knocked on the window, and be like, I need to talk to Black Widow here. And it's just like, there's some mind control thing going on. Do you know anything about it? No. And then he dips out. And like
at
to
that
me,
point, why even have a scene?
But she can still keep coming back. I don't know. Like he just has more reasons to keep coming back.
It wasn't that long a scene though.
Maybe it felt that long to you. Maybe the dialogue just wasn't working all that well then. It's just like, to me, let me just tell you where I get confused with those issues, because like up until this point, this character has felt like he's really not really been in the thick of it. He's really been obsessed with measuring up to other people. Here it feels like that's no longer a concern. He's just trying to be himself.
Mhm.
And it turns out he's actually a pretty good superhero when he's trying to be himself. And where it leaves him, we haven't even talked about the whole like organic mutation that he goes through, or metamorphosis, or what it means for his powers. But I legitimately thought that we leave him in a place where I'm like, cool, I'm excited to see what's next for this character. As far as like the growth that we saw in this movie, that doesn't mean I'm excited to see where this takes us with like MJ and Ned, because I still don't care about those characters. I don't think I ever will. That's the thing, the fatal flaw that will never like go away. In fact, I would have preferred, like you, if instead of this movie, instead of this is like the third movie in a row where it spends the first like 5 minutes undoing the setups that happened last time. Because what should have happened was Black Cat in college, right in the beginning of college. MJ and Ned really should have had no business being in this movie. That's the story really we all wanted to see.
Yeah.
And what do? They skip over that. The same way in No Way Home, they skip over the potential of everybody knowing who Peter Parker is. Or in Far From Home, they don't necessarily skip anything, but we do. Apparently Aunt May's okay with Peter being Spider-Man, and apparently Peter likes MJ now. Every fucking movie they begin completely skipping over things that I think were fundamental to this story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel you. I ultimately, we know it's going to go back to MJ and Ned, remembering. But I will tell you, I don't like that. I'm surprised they didn't undo it completely. I was so expecting them to just do away with it, but I guess they kind of do in a way. I mean, maybe they're not ever gonna maybe they're not gonna undo it, but I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna build new relationships. Start from scratch. That's what it seems like to me.
I think the next movie they're just gonna be friends again. Like it's just not gonna. It's like it's gonna be the same way as the original 3. Like that's just gonna be it. Really, because I mean, I like that they didn't get their memories back in this movie. Like it was just sort of like, I don't remember you, and then we move on. But then like immediately right after, they're hanging out as friends, and I'm like, I was really hoping he would just leave and that they would never come back. But I mean, that just didn't happen. But
Here's
like,
the thing.
and then let me go. Let me explain, because like we're kind of going back and forth, and it's throwing me off. But like I said, I like
that
the
was
interactions.
Alexis is doing.
I like the interactions that he has with these characters. There's some fun dialogue. I love Florence Pugh as Black Widow here. She's always fun to watch and all that. There was just some tiny things that kind of bothered me. With Black Widow specifically, it was just that there was a moment where he and Peter talk to each other. And she's realizing that Jean Grey is doing trying to find her sister and all that. And the way she says it, and like, oh, it's her sister and all, like the way she says it, I was like, oh, she's gonna be in the fight. Like she's gonna join in because now she wants to like make this personally and all that. But they didn't do that, and I'm like, what do you mean? That was like the perfect end. What are you doing?
It sounds like you set yourself up for something that was not going to realistically happen. That's what it sounds like.
That is on you.
That felt the most natural thing in this movie. Okay,
no, it did not. At all.
Yes, it did.
I have no idea why her finding out that she's looking for her sister would motivate her.
Because the whole time she was like, "Oh, I'm only
be a part of it.
I only deal with big potatoes and all that." And it's like
how is her looking for her sister big potatoes?
No. She was like,
it's the smallest of small potatoes.
No. She kept saying that to Peter and all that, and Peter was just kind of like, whatever. This is important and blah blah blah. And then when she realized this is someone who was trying to look for her sister, that made it more personal. And they could have had an interaction. It was like, I thought we only deal with big potatoes. And it's just like, well, this small potato seemed important and all that.
That's
like she could have
1,000,000% on you. I never once got even the hint that meant that she was gonna show up in any capacity.
Man, it's been some time
That's
since
insane.
we've
I've
seen
not-
a movie so differently.
That's
this
insane.
is
No.
incredible.
Okay. And then
This is actually good, I would say. We don't usually get this way anymore about movies, but that's hilarious.
That's
and then-
insane.
And then when it comes to the Hulk, I know you already said like you don't
Yeah,
really care
yeah.
about the greater MCU, but I do
Mhm.
because that was the whole point of Avengers Infinity
But
War.
why? Why do you care about
Hold on, hold on,
Why? We just spent a whole hour and a half
I
saying
know.
we shouldn't care
It
anymore.
still should be important.
insane.
It's just still be important. And remember,
No.
in Avengers Infinity War, the directors themselves were like, "This is a thank you to all the people who have stuck to like all the movies." Okay,
Fuck
that was
them.
the whole
He
point.
sucked in Infinity War.
Oh my! But like that's why I find it to be important. And I get it. I know I'm making a big deal out of this, but like I understand what you said when it's just like when you look at it in isolation. It's a cool thing what they did with Hulk. Fine.
Fine, that's the movie.
Okay, but on the greater MCU, they have no idea what the
Okay,
fuck to do with Hulk. Okay, I thought he had
Yes,
control of
They
it.
did here though.
No, they didn't.
I don't care. I don't care.
No, okay.
Everything they did with Hulk in like fucking Endgame was boring and lame as shit. Everything they've done with Hulk since then is boring and lame as shit.
Okay, let me get to the other tiny detail then. When he
Okay.
turns evil, there's not a moment where so he goes evil, turns back to normal,
Mhm.
and the whole time, like every 5 minutes, he kept saying, "Did I hurt anyone? Did I hurt anyone?" Punisher and Spider-Man don't take a second to go, No, you're fine. Like nobody got hurt or something like that. They never take the time to say that, and it really, really bothered me. He's literally living in the hospital.
Are you talking about when he's in the stretcher?
In the stretcher when he was in the building, like he kept saying, not once does he bring it up, like no, nobody got hurt. Like there's not a single
Well,
line in that moment.
Maybe because they can't say with confidence that no one got hurt.
It doesn't matter.
An entire building fell off the fucking side. Also, they're a little busy dealing with other shit. He's already off.
It's 5
The
seconds.
other people
less
will
than
talk to
5
him.
seconds.
No.
It's a 5-second moment to be like everything will be fine. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Let's say they didn't 100% know for sure that somebody didn't get hurt.
Mhm.
Fine. At the very least, give him reassurance that everything will be fine. Like you'll get out of this. But no, it ends with him being in some mental hospital because now he's going to be in jail. The guy who brought back half the universe goes to.
Does that make him less dangerous?
I mean, they're kind of seeing it as just like, oh well.
I'm
It's just
sorry.
like-
This is classic fucking Hulk. All right. He saves the world. He fucks up. He loses control. He feels like shit. He never feels like, no matter how many people he saves, he's never can atone for his mistakes. I mean,
It's almost like they should make a movie about that character.
they probably should.
I mean, this is a
'Cause
good
that's
end.
actually
It's
pretty
never
big
gonna
deal.
happen.
This is a
but
good end, I guess.
Due to
but-
legal
I will
reasons.
just say,
I don't know.
just
This
to
is just classic Hulk to me.
Side tangent, real quick. To me, and this is maybe just a me thing,
It
but I
is.
found it funny when Peter goes first to Banner's lecture at the university, and when the students stop him because they don't give a fuck about physics, they want to just make it into a Q&A, and then the whole movie stops for a fan to ask a question somebody would ask at Comic-Con, and Banner directs it to somebody else to do the whole Hulk smash thing funny. That to me felt like a fuck you to the fans from Kevin Feige.
No,
for
that's
asking fucking
easily the most
questions.
meta moment. And while I agree with the fuck you sentiment, that's the one moment where I got took out, where I was like rolling my eyes. like,
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah,
So even
I did
then,
not.
where I'm like, I
Wouldn't
guess I could
Thanos just shut the fuck up? If you have a problem with that, David, I understand.
No, yeah,
But
no problem with
like
that.
everything else, it's. I feel like I'm in. Not to offend you. I feel like I'm talking to your sister right now
Oh my god.
because.
Oh my god.
I feel like I'm having another up discussion.
Okay. Well, I think we can. That's the one thing we'll probably agree on with the MJ and Ned. They didn't need to be here. The only thing that I liked is just that they didn't bring back the memories. Although, like I said, next movie they're probably just gonna be friends again, and they're probably gonna. It's gonna
That's
be a
the
retread
next
of Far
movie
From Home.
problem.
No, yeah,
That's
I know. But like, I think that's something
I'll
we can all
judge
agree
that
with.
one on its own merits as well.
But either
Here's
way.
the thing. I already gave up on... I agree with you. I much would rather have seen a film in between those 5 years where he meets new people, specifically Black Cat,
Mhm.
maybe has a short fling with her, tries to do whatever, Here's the thing. Zendaya's the biggest fucking star on the face of the earth. They're not making one of these without her.
Yeah.
And they're
They're
married
just
now
not.
too, so that fucks
And they're
it up.
married. Although I will say, it's a double-edged sword because I think her involvement is probably the only reason this script is halfway decent.
That's
I think it's just for her parts though that like she kind of rewrote it or something. If there's anything good about this script, that you
well.
guys
Look,
find-
here's the thing. It doesn't make any sense to me if that was all it was, because everything else is not indicative of the same people that wrote the first three films. And the credited writers for this movie, Brand New Day, are the exact same ones as Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. But there's a clear difference. So what happened this time? I do think, though, it's been said many times in interviews that Holland and Zendaya specifically requested rewrites because they personally were not happy with the work they were turning in. And I don't know if it's been mentioned, but I think this is also revealing as to why people shouldn't care about the MCU anymore. But in test screenings for Brand New Day, Tom Holland revealed that every single thing that was said in those test screenings, Kevin Feige basically addressed them and took things out of the movie, which pissed off Tom Holland and Zendaya, and they demanded that all those things that were taken out be put back into the film, which is even more further confirmation that Marvel ultimately does not have a leg to stand on, which is
I'll be honest,
they will listen
I think that
verbatim
was the issue with Fantastic Four, because that
Well,
feels like
yes.
the most sanitized movie in the world. I think there probably does exist a really good version of that film that was gotten the life beaten out of it in the test screenings.
And the other thing also too is it wasn't just that they were, demanding rewrites and they wanted to get the story right, but they also demanded that they wouldn't start filming until they were all happy with what the script was going to be, which makes a huge difference. And we also have said for years now, that's not how they usually do this.
Yeah.
And, again, as Peter says, it is a double-edged sword because it was the combined influence of Tom Daya. If it wasn't for that, it probably wouldn't have... Kevin Feige would have had no reason to just stop just because the actors want you to make it better. Usually that would be like who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
But they've built a lot of influence and power now where they've had legitimate sway.
Yeah.
And can we just also acknowledge this too? Destin Daniel Cretton was not who they originally wanted to direct this movie. They legit went back to John Watts to do another one of these. And he said, no, thanks, because I think he wanted to work on other projects. I think at one point they were floating Fantastic Four or they were floating Avengers or something else was in the ether that he was more interested in. But again, Pascal and Feige made no real attempt to course correct. They just went back to the same person because, okay, the previous stream made so much money, which is another core issue, is that Feige doesn't go and seek for talent outside of casting. When it comes to the people who actually matter in making the difference, which comes to the screenplay and the direction, he finds no-name hacks. This is where we get to a point where you ask somebody like Sean Levy to direct your Avengers movie. That's how low we've fallen. Of course, yes, I can acknowledge that, okay, the guy that directed Thunderbolts doing X-Men is, I guess, a step in the right direction, but that too is also indicative of him being unwilling to go and look for talent and letting talent come in and be part of the creative process. Like, no fucking real directors want any part of the MCU because of what he has done. So, in regards to this movie again, to me, it skirts by on avoiding a majority of the sins that the other films, not just the Spider-Man MCU movies, but the most of the MCU films are very much guilty of. And there's a focus, again, like, of the last 5 years, what are the MCU films, good or bad, that come to mind that actually attempted to go for themes and character arcs? I can think of Brand New Day. I can think of Thunderbolts. Love and Thunder had that. I don't know if you can say good or bad, but Love and Thunder definitely had themes and definitely had arcs.
Guardians 3.
Yes. I don't even acknowledge
I
always
always
anymore. I forget about it completely, but that's there. What
Beyond
other
that,
movies can we?
I don't give a shit. There's nothing in all those other. what, Ant-Man?
And I'm not even saying like movies that you give a shit about in general. I'm just saying that movies that are attempting character stuff, they're attempting story basics, and that's at large the reason for why so many of these have failed, because they forgot how to make movies. Cue Doomsday. Just put the trailer over this, and you see, for example, what's happening there. But I do want to make it clear, even though we definitely got a little bit passionate here in this instance, I don't think Peter and I are in love with this movie. I just think we appreciate that this threw a bone at our direction for the first time. Whereas the other ones, definitely, if we're being real, we're kind of spitting in our faces. And this is the first time I can say that I enjoyed this iteration of the character. Like, I feel like the relationship he had with DeWolf, the detective, was far more real than anything that came before.
No, yeah.
I will say, though, I'm sorry, one more thing, and then I'll get to you, David. It is a little unbelievable that Peter Parker didn't have any other romantic interests in like the 4 years that really flew by. And I think it's like I would have really have loved to have seen the exploration of a romance, but we're now 4 movies in, and this Spider-Man series seemingly has no interest in romance. And if they can't do that with Spider-Man, why would we think they would do that with X-Men? They're not. David.
No, I was just gonna say that I like the interaction between him and the detective. It's probably my favorite one, maybe because there was some growth in their relationship, and all that. But I mean, do we have more to say about Jean Grey? I
think we probably should. I'm not even sure if we dwelled that much on her. The interest. I think it was interesting. I mean, I appreciated, the effect that her powers had and everything. I mean, I like Sadie Sink in general. I do think she is like the biggest star out of Stranger Things. I'm happy that she's, getting roles like this. I think she's definitely up to the challenge of making this iteration of the character be a fan favorite one. I mean, I ultimately felt that her involvement here somehow strangely fit thematically. It's good. I'm not blown away by it. I'm not amazed by it. And it also, just by nature of it being somewhat related to X-Men, is like the one instance that I can recall in the last 5 years where it didn't completely put me off. I mean, I was definitely, I was half expecting a da-da-da-da-da-da when they put the name Jean Grey in full text on the screen for everybody to see. Which I think tells you that I think that they've received a lot of blowback for that. Generally speaking, I thought it was fine. Now, I'm not the person to really speak on whether or not this was the correct way to introduce X-Men into this world, because I think you and Peter have more to say on that. You're much more knowledgeable on how this would, set up. I also do question if any of this even means anything, because if they're going to reset and reboot everything following Doomsday and Secret Wars, I don't know how which again, this is another in-universe reason to not really be all that concerned just yet with what this means. I mean, how do you feel, David?
No, I mean, I didn't mind her being in this movie. I did mention, though, earlier that I think the writers, or I guess you can say the director, got lazy with her character, because I heard that the original story was that she was being framed, and that there was supposed to be some other villain doing all this. And I feel like that makes more sense because they really took it far with how evil she was being.
This is another point where I'm like, I just disagree. I felt it would have felt cheap and fucking lame to just have it a cop out of like, actually, she's not a bad guy. She's just
no. He's
here.
Like, I wouldn't have minded that. I mean,
cop out.
I mean, I agree. I agree with you on that. I'm just saying that it was lazy on their part because they took it too far of her being able. It really did bother me when she took control of that old man, puts him out in the street, and then he gets hit by a cab. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Here's
this
the
cannot
thing.
be Jean Grey, your hero.
Here's the thing. X-Men are assholes.
Oh,
How many people has Wolverine killed?
bad guys, though.
Jean Grey and the X-Men are not Spider-Man. They are not Superman. They are not Batman.
I think they have edge to them.
There's an
And that's
edge
the
to the
thing
X-Men.
that makes me nervous again about the X-Men in general. Is like, how are they
Mhm.
going to approach to it? I mean, you could say that maybe this movie is
I will say
evidence that
David's not alone, because I see a lot of people say, like, did they go too far with Jean Grey?
I've seen that too.
And in my mind, I'm just like,
can I be honest?
"Pussies."
I didn't care. I forgot
I
about it
didn't
the
care.
minute it happened. I didn't care at all.
She killed
I
one
mean,
old man.
I mean,
Don't get in her way.
no. She
Don't
killed
get
a
in her
lot more
way.
people when she
She probably did.
Psychic
Don't get in her
mind.
way.
that whole explosion taking
That's
control.
the Phoenix.
I mean, it didn't bother me that much, but like her taking control of MJ and all that, it just didn't. She did take it too far when she pushed her off the ledge and all that. And it's just kind of like, ugh.
I'll say this. I think if they never mention it again, like she's just like, yeah, whatever. That's an issue, right?
Mhm. No,
But
yeah,
if it's something that she feels she struggles with a little bit, like,
no, yeah, I would be
morally speaking.
so okay with it if like the next time we see her and let's say they're trying
but
to do
see,
some.
this is what I mean. I feel like all of your, well, not all of them, but a lot of your criticisms are like, but what about the wider MCU? And I guess my response is always fuck that, fuck them, fuck it all. Like, I don't care.
Well, okay,
If the next time we see Hulk, he has a fucking mohawk going like, "What up, bros?" Like, I don't care. I'm gonna judge it based on that film and how it works within relation to that story.
that's most likeliest to happen, honestly.
Guess what?
okay, hold on.
That's the way comic books are written.
You did not do that with Deadpool
You get a
and Wolverine.
completely different, huh?
You did not do that with Deadpool and Wolverine. The whole time I was
okay.
saying,
Now I'm getting called out. Hold
No,
on.
no, yes.
Let's
The whole-
let's take a moment.
the
He's
whole
punching
time,
back now.
the whole time I was like,
Okay.
this Deadpool and Wolverine,
Yeah.
like, it's about it, him like being okay with the universe that he is in. He wants to be in like the Avengers because he thinks his universe is basically gonna go to shit if he doesn't go into the Avengers, into the wider MCU. But in the end, he realizes, nah, I should be with like the people that I care about. I should be in my own
Mhm.
universe. And the whole
Yes.
time you were like, oh, you know who wants to be in the Avengers in the greater MCU? Ryan Reynolds. And that bothered you from the story because it's
Okay,
going meta.
this is different though. This is different. And I'm telling you why it's different.
All right.
Deadpool of its own nature is entirely meta. You can't really take in those films without having an understanding, and it wants you, that it's forcing you. It's part of the art itself on the meta history and story and characters and specifically actors through which to view the film. That is what it's asking of you in those films. So I'm engaging with it on that level. This is different with Spider-Man. If Spider-Man had a literal stopped the whole movie to have a literal fucking speech about, man, aren't we all tired of the multiverse? Oh, you're Blade, and there's only ever gonna be one Blade. You
Oh my
know,
God,
if
I
we
forgot
had
that
shit
happened.
like that, maybe you'd have a point where it's like, yeah,
Quite
we should
frankly,
be
that
looking
shit didn't
at
even
the
work in
wider.
that movie. I'll just disagree with both of you. I
But
thought
that's
that film was
different.
terrible.
That's
And
fine,
I think
but that's a different
normal
discussion.
Deadpool 3 would have been far better than Deadpool and Wolverine with the Fox iteration. Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool and Wolverine is a terrible film. I hate it. I hated it so much.
But my defense is the whole point is that you're supposed to engage with that film in that way. Not with Spider-Man. Not with any other film in the MCU. Deadpool is a very unique case.
I would
Very
even say
unique.
that the Marvel of it all is what made that film awful in the first place. So that's not. I can't stand that people think that that's a real movie. Deadpool and Wolverine. Are you
I don't
kidding
think people
me?
think it's a real movie. I think people enjoyed watching it. I don't know anyone who's called it a real movie.
Wow.
Anyway, when it comes to Spider-Man, I don't care. I don't care about like. In fact, fuck it. Forget the MCU. View this film as if it's just this. It's all you know. Let me fucking mind wipe you with my Doctor Strange spell.
That's what I
and
feel
you
about
have
it. Like,
no understanding of the wider MCU. All you know is this is Spider-Man. He's been active for a while. Something happened where everyone, those closest to him forgot who he was. Here's the story. Now do those things bother you?
Okay, in isolation, I actually was thinking about this while I was watching it. Okay, like I said, I was thinking like, is this the second best of the Tom Holland movies? And it's like, oh, am I bothered by these because of the greater MCU? I was thinking of that. And most of my complaints are just the little things within the movie that like just dialogue wise that kind of bothered me. Like I said, with MJ and Ned, cool that they didn't get their memories back. Don't like that he just went right back into to the apartment place and he was hanging out with them. I'm just kind of like, okay, it was fun, but like I wish they would be gone.
I like the moment though.
Mm-hmm.
It's what, again, thematically it does work.
Yeah.
It's what pushes him to say, I can't just isolate myself. I need to open up.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first ray of sunshine in his life that he's had in years. And I think it motivates him going into that final act. So this whole idea of like, they're just going to go right back to being friends with him. First of all, yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That was when they were announced to be in this film. I came to terms with that months, probably even years ago. Fuck it, it's whatever. For this film, for this story that they're telling, it mostly works. Will it work in the next film? I don't know, and I don't care until I see that film.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
The real jury is out. Ultimately, is how does it hold up on rewatch after some time?
Like,
I've only seen it once.
I only seen it once, so I gotta rewatch it. I gotta, have a better mindset of it all and all that.
Well, I mean, I would tell you that for me, it's never been for the better. When it comes to these are concerned, they've always really aged horribly. That's the MCU of it all, because they're not designed to be. I think really latelier, they haven't really been like hitting at home. They only hit if they hit in the theater, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I definitely want to see it again eventually. So I mean, we'll keep doing these and talking about all these films. So if it changes, you'll hear it. So, yeah. But as far as where I'm feeling right now, it's mostly positive. It's not a raving review, but it's mostly positive. The tomato would be fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. But I don't know, these complaints out of
I mean, okay.
I'm because I was ready to hear some complaints where I'm like, okay, like I disagree, but I'll hand it to you. Like, this is an issue. This is annoying. This is this. Well,
I think the only one that would not convince me on rewatch is how they did handle Jean Grey. I think they still for sure took it too far, especially with the line when he tries to convince her not to kill that guy. He goes, "You're not a killer."
I just remember what I wanted to say.
Yeah. She kills entire universes in the comic.
Can we just be real though, honestly? And this is it is so hypocritical that every time we have like, why is it always like, there's so much like bitch whining and moaning about like, oh my god, how come there's never any accounting of justice to like characters like Jean Grey or Wanda? What was all that energy when Tony Stark had like a lot of atrocities in his name?
Well, he made money doing it. It's different.
So I'm just like, I don't know. But personally, I just think it's always more interesting how there's so much energy in the fandom dedicated to when particularly female characters kill versus when male characters are responsible for, mass.
You hear that, David?
I don't-
He's calling you a misogynist.
No,
That's
I don't
not
mind.
what I was saying.
No, I know. But I don't mind that she gets away in the end and all that. It's just that in that moment where he's trying to convince her not to kill, that specific line of him going, "You're not a killer," does not work. She did kill people. She was intentionally trying to kill people. Like that line doesn't work. And so he could have just taken that out. Have that moment. It was a really nice moment between her.
I think what he's
Aunt May.
trying to get at is like she's just a kid. Who she is not fully formed. She's only lashing out because she wants her sister, which is something he can.
Do we know how old?
I get it.
She is in the movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Because you actually had something to say about that, Peter.
Off mic, yes.
Are you sure you don't want to address it here? Because I'm surprised
I guess
the
I
fandom
should
isn't going
now.
there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure she's a teenager,
Mhm.
and she kissed Peter Parker. So
In the comics, you mean? Or
no, in the movie,
oh, really?
she kissed him
As MJ.
as MJ.
Oh, right, that moment. Okay. Oh.
So
and
Peter
the film
Parker
literally
needs to be
stops later on to address
arrested.
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, where's Chris Hansen when you need him?
Well, here's the thing. It's funny. I think it was handled pretty well enough. You know what it actually reminded me of? Do you remember that really weird stuff in Wonder Woman 1984?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. But that's
believe
different. They don't
she's-
even address it in that film. It's just like, yeah, whatever.
Do you
And
recall
it's
David, what
like-
we're talking about?
Yeah, Wonder Woman thing for sure. And I don't know if you said
When
they
she was
handled it,
just openly raping this dude. And it was like,
but I mean, I still don't.
yeah, crazy
I mean,
film.
it's cool that he acknowledges it, but it's not really acknowledged by Jean Grey for doing that because she's the one mind controlling MJ, and
So technically, didn't Jean Grey assault Peter?
Jean Grey assaulted MJ.
Isn't that how
really.
it works?
The one who got assaulted was MJ for sure.
Yeah, and it's cool that like Peter kind of apologized for that moment. You know,
I'll be
because
honest,
he thought-
that would probably have to be more addressed than
Yeah.
the killing in my book.
Well, I mean, everything has to be more addressing for sure that, but either way, MJ needs to be the one to acknowledge that moment.
She did. She was like, well, I don't even remember it, so
No,
she seemed to move past it.
Oh, did I say
Are we
MJ? I
sure
meant
there
Jean
aren't
Grey.
people who are?
Oh,
yeah,
Jean
that's what
Grey.
I think you meant to say.
I think they'll address that she's done fucked up shit in the past in the X-Men film.
That's what it
But
came
again,
off to me.
that's an
But
X-Men
that's the
film
character,
problem.
isn't
That's
it?
not a Spider-Man Brand New Day problem. That's the thing. See, this is the thing. This is a criticism I will give you. Mark it down. What's the date? What's the time? What's the year?
August 15th,
When-
2026.
When we review X-Men, whenever the fuck that comes out, and if you want to criticize it then for maybe not sufficiently addressing it, then there's a level of understandability.
But address what at that point? Wouldn't the whole thing have been undone to an extent? Like,
Well,
would
I mean,
it
I'm
even
assuming-
matter
No,
then?
you're right. You don't have a leg to stand on. Fuck you, David.
I mean, I would assume that like everything that happened before, it's gonna be like Crisis of Infinite Earths on the CW
Yeah.
shows, where it's just like everything
If
kind of
people don't remember, what does that fix your issues? If like after Secret Wars, this new universe or whatever, if they do not remember like like a lot of the stuff that happened, like it's a whole new world, will that address your issue?
not really, because then
Oh
I
my
just
God.
find it kind of lazy. But then also too,
It's not okay, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. That's.
Were there
I don't
any
think they're
other
gonna do it.
criticisms that you heard other people kind of throw out there that anybody would like to acknowledge? or explore?
Oh,
plot
this
doesn't-
isn't criticism, but it's something I liked. I liked a lot, which is the whole VMAX thing.
Oh yeah, I like that.
I thought that was handled fantastically.
Yeah.
I was so happy when, because I think it was like 2/3 of the way in. I'm like, man, they haven't revealed what this VMAX thing is,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't heard anyone like in the reviews talk about it. So it can't be like
I keep seeing reviews that they keep saying it was dumb, but they don't explain why it was dumb. But I'm like, why, please explain to me. Like, it's perfectly fine what they did. She's trying to like find clues to find her sister. VMAX is like the biggest one, and then she realizes what it is when she looks up in the ceiling. And I also like it too because when she does realize that she gets a power up, it's like very anime where it's just like, you go search deep inside their feelings and they open up a next level of power and all that. Like that's fine. There's a compliment for the movie and all that. But I was gonna say I heard one complaint that Jean Grey's plan makes zero sense. She can jump into people's mind. Why didn't she jump into that one guy's from the beginning? The one that took her sister? Like she literally could
what?
Jean Grey can jump in.
If Jean Grey can jump into anybody's mind, why didn't she just jump into the director of damage control's mind?
Yeah.
That was the complaint.
Yeah. It just it doesn't make
maybe
sense.
she couldn't reach him.
She can jump to multiple
It seems
bodies.
like she was. No, she can jump into multiple bodies as they get closer. They do have that throwaway line that they've beefed up security to a pretty large amount. The only thing I can think of is that she was specifically looking for like sources to find specifically what VMAX was.
Yeah.
Unless
I think she assumed it was something larger, right? And I think if she jumps into the director, that kind of gives the whole game away. Like she can't, because before they weren't. I don't think they were even 100% sure that all these attacks were by her, or that they were. It allowed her some level of anonymity, I guess.
But either way, though, she jumps in. They don't know that they got jumped in. Like that's
they know that they know that something fucking happened to them. Like when you pass out and then you wake up like in a completely different place. And he specifically tortured her sister, so he knows how that power works.
Yeah, he would know very well.
He would know.
Be. How did we think, considering how limited, the guess radius of her being able to jump, she was able to beat Peter to MJ?
I think that just.
MJ to Peter.
I think they. Wait. Sorry. Repeat the question. Actually,
the question is like when Peter is chasing Jean to MJ's place, how does Jean beat Peter to then jump into MJ before Peter opens the window?
Well, he thought she just like if he keeps some person away from anyone 30 feet away, that she just gets isolated there. But I don't think that's
she doesn't. No, no.
But that's not
she can just jump out of that guy and then jump in another guy that's 30 feet closer to her, and then
so it was always gonna happen. So that was kind of a weird moment.
The action's really good.
Yeah, I did like the action in this movie.
In every fight, like him with Scorpion, they did some cool stuff with his little scorpion tail. I think the standouts were, him with the Hulk and him taking on the Hand at the end was really fun and really well done. They moved like ninjas.
I do think it's funny though, and I think I'll give this one more credence than anything else, that the Hand were only in here just so he can fight them. At the very end.
Oh yeah. Also, that's the only reason they exist is because fighting ninjas is cool.
Yeah.
So the comics needed a ninja group so that they could fight. And it was the Hand.
I don't mind it, but I did find it a little bit dumb that they were still in their ninja costumes, their evil ninja
That's
costumes.
comic books.
I know,
baby.
I don't, I don't mind it seriously, but like I was still kind of
Uh-huh.
like, why are you still in your evil costumes if you're in the good
Not only
side?
do I not
It's their
mind
culture,
it,
man.
I am
You gonna take away their
100%
culture?
behind it. I would be pissed off if the final fight had them in like fucking suits or something.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Have them in their badass ninja garb.
No, yeah, I get it.
No, I thought overall it's very enjoyable. I think even Yelena, to a certain extent, had a thematic purpose for being there because she went through a very similar arc in Thunderbolts, dealing with her own level of loneliness and isolation. So, I mean, I think on a filmmaking level, easily the best of the MCU. And I guess, it's which is the best one. I guess it's gonna vary from person to person, but I do think it's the best of the MCU ones. Where they go next, I don't know. That's another problem for another day.
Well, that was a lot. I sure wasn't expecting the conversation to go in that direction, I will admit, but I think we can all acknowledge that
Wait,
was a very
how did,
passionate exchange.
How did Miss Moreno feel about the film?
I
will
I
say
believe it has been established.
Damn it!
David, say it
I
again.
thought it would work.
I will say nothing.
He will say nothing. I believe we've established multiple times now that David is legally no longer allowed to speak on behalf of Alexis Moreno, his sister, his biological sister.
That we know of.
She retains, that we know of. She retains all authority to speak for herself. I mean, if she so wished, she could have, given us some comments or a clip, but she didn't want to. So there's that. I do believe, though, if you want to hear what she feels about these movies in general, you can go back and listen to our No Way Home review from 5 years ago. If you're that interested in hearing her own thoughts about it, I'm not sure how much they have evolved since then. But look, I think ultimately what I was so dreading this movie, and I actually appreciate it in the sense that, for one, I didn't walk out pissed off. I walked out of it actually being quite happy with how it treated Spider-Man, and it made me actually love the idea that this is a character that is so beloved, and I myself, he's just such a great character. And I got to tell you, I think one of my favorite sequences, none of us even touched on it, but it was when we finally get to see Peter Parker as he walks out of the hospital and see how much people do adore him. And then the back and forth, not the back and forth, but just the one little moment he had with that kid that was like thwip. That's kind of like, okay. To me, that was like the first instance that the people behind this movie ultimately remembered what it was that these movies are supposed to represent, and remembered that they should probably maybe make a movie about this character being the focal point and not him having to be like sacrificed at the altar of whatever MCU avatar you want to put, in front of our faces.
It's also about saving people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it should, again, go without say how absurd it is that it took a whole 10 years to get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know ultimately what this means for the future. I quite frankly don't care. I'm not sure how many more ways I can communicate to you how much I aggressively do not care about the MCU going forward or what. I mean, I would be somewhat curious to see where Spider-Man in general goes forward as a character, but I don't know when that's going to happen. And yeah, I guess we're going to have to find out for ourselves whenever that day comes. But I will say, I want to thank all of you for being here today and for engaging in the spirited discussion. It definitely did not go the way I think any of us thought it would. I think it definitely made for the most divisive review we've had in a long time. And that in and of itself, I think is quite something to behold. And I think will make this a joy to revisit and rewatch. I, for one, can't wait to hear what Alexis thinks of it. I know she's like one of the regular viewers, and I know that she's probably going to watch this at some point, and I'm sure she's going to have thoughts about everything that is said, and I'm sure she will share with us what those are whenever she's not out of town. So give or take a couple of
So
years.
never.
Anyway, there are more films to come out this summer as summer is dwindling away. We've got End of Oak Street and also Coyote versus Acme. So I'm sure we're going to be taking our time to watch those movies.
Yeah.
And whatever the future portends, we will be here to cover it all. Thank you so much for staying under our red spotlight for more content and more. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.